Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 2 of Ask IOG, the show fueled exclusively by your community questions. Today I'm joined online by Preston Pugh.
Hey man, what's going on?
Hey dude, it's good to hear from you, and I'm joined alongside Jacob Alka.
Hey man, can I have a handshake?
Absolutely, Jacob. Nice firm handshake between two gentlemen. Now, we can't shake Preston's hand because he is joining us via Skype, but we're glad to have him nonetheless. Preston, how are things on your end?
So far, so good. I'm a little bummed I can't participate in this handshake, but I'll get over it.
Hey, next time I see you, we'll have some T-Bell and a handshake. I'll give you 2 handshakes. How about that?
How about hey, can you shake both hands at the same time? You know, if you cross your hands like so,
sure,
you can shake both their hands at the same time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you guys recall any incredibly awkward handshakes you've had in your day with an individual?
Of course.
Yeah, well,
I think I've had too many to like literally count.
Yeah, right. I've had lots of left-hand handshakes, which are the worst.
Left hand land? Yeah. Who does that?
I don't know. What sadistic asshole would shake your hand with his left hand?
You know, instances, but
someone just sticks. They're like, "It's good to meet you, man," and they just stick out their left hand. You just look at it and look back at them. You look them in the eyes, and you're just like, "What the fuck, man?"
I feel like even if
what are you trying to pull here?
Just slap it away.
Yeah,
even if you are left-handed, I feel like it's like a social normity to still use your right hand.
Yeah, it's a little unethical to stick out your left hand in any situation. No offense to anyone who does that, but it's a little weird. But, you know, the worst for me is that guy, that everyone knows this one guy who refuses to shake your hand like a normal human being. He has to do that thing where he does like, how do you do it? I don't know how to describe it.
Like
when you grab someone's hand like this. Can you see it, Preston?
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah, that's all they do, and you can never, and every now and then they'll switch it up and do a normal handshake, but you can never tell which one because the way they do their arm. So you're just hoping it's normal, but then they go for the cup like this, and it's just a disaster. And they're like, "Dude, what's up?" And you're like, "Yeah."
So do you have a problem with this in general?
No. See, I like this. If
you like doing a little like,
yeah, no. See, I dig that where you cup it and you kind of do like the pat on the back, like,
and then you touch each other a little bit,
and then you kiss the person in the ear, and then you proceed to have a conversation. Yeah. But the thing is that I can't tell the difference between when someone wants to do that or if they want to do a normal handshake.
I feel like if you want to do the cup, you have to be very extreme with your body motions, so there's no confusion. It's like I'm clearly going for the cup. So
right, you kind of have to pounce at them like a gorilla would on all fours, and then you know the cup handshake is coming.
Yes.
So how do you know when they want to do the pat on the back though? Because sometimes I'll go in for the pat on the back, and sometimes they don't do that. Like I'll go for the pat on the back, and they don't touch my back, and then I feel a little intimate with them, but I don't know if they like that or not.
That's when you gotta pull them a little bit away and look them in the eye and say like, no, you have to touch my back, and then you go for it again, and you wait for them to do it.
Yeah, and to insinuate that, you just got to give them a quick peck on the lips.
Yeah,
and then they know.
Yeah.
But other than weird handshakes, guys, how you feeling today? It's good to be back here in episode 2 of Ask IOG. I'm excited.
Yeah, man, it's good to be here for the first time. I unfortunately wasn't able to participate in our debut episode of Ask IOG, so it's good to finally show up to this party.
Oh yeah.
No, absolutely. Well, Preston, remember this. First is the worst, second is always the best. So you came at the right time, my friend.
Yep. I'd rather be the best or have a hairy chest, so 2 and 3 are good.
Yeah. Speaking of hairy chests, you know, when I was a kid and people would be like, you know, first the worst, second the best, third is the one with the hairy chest. I envisioned a treasure chest full of hair. I didn't know they meant a literal hairy chest, like a human being with a hairy chest.
Chest with hair in it is also a literal hairy chest.
Yeah,
too.
Exactly. So I wasn't necessarily incorrect in thinking that, but it didn't take me till about, I think, maybe late middle school, early high school when I realized that they were talking about a human being with a hairy chest. I imagine a treasure chest full of hair. That's not that exciting either. So either way, I was like, man, that kind of sucks.
If I scored the 7 C's with a crew finding a treasure chest and all I found was a chest of hair, I'd be pretty pissed off.
Exactly. That would be incredibly disappointing. But Preston, is it raining over by you?
Dude, it's been ridiculous over here. The wind is insane. I let my my dog's out to go pee, and my dog like was in the crouched over peeing position, and the wind was just blowing his ears sideways, and his stream of pee was like flying up all over his leg.
Blows away.
Then my little Shorky, she couldn't even do it. She like went outside for 5 seconds, looked into the wind, it almost blew her over, and she immediately like ran for her life back to the door. So the weather's a little crazy over here.
What a nightmare.
I was out driving in that today. It was quite the adventure.
Was it? Yeah, it's coming down pretty hard over here too, Preston. Kind of sounds like a storm outside. But I mean, speaking of peeing mishaps as well, have you ever had any peeing mishaps where you either aim for the toilet and miss, or some sort of weather situation has ruined it for you?
I don't pee outside. I can't even remember the last time I've peed outside, so no. I've had a few peeing mishaps where you go up to take a leak and you're like aiming like you are dead on for that bowl, and your pee stream just goes flying off like 90 degrees to the left for some reason, and it just like goes all over the stall door.
Yeah.
I've had that happen a handful of times, but nothing weather related yet.
Right, yeah. I think I've peed outside a handful of times in my life when I have no other choice, but I remember the first time I peed outside and I didn't actually use my hands. I just free flowed it. Oh, like no hands peed. That was one of the most freeing experiences I've ever had. It was pretty awesome.
If it gets on your leg.
But Preston, I know what you're talking about, where it either shoots in a 90-degree direction or it splits in two and splits in two different directions. And that's a nightmare because you have to choose between, am I just going to pee all over the seat and all over the floor, or am I just going to take the pain and try to stop it? You know, it's a very hard decision to make, especially at the crack of dawn. So, but, you know, peeing's cool. Rain's cool, I guess. And awkward handshakes are the best. But, you know, community questions are here. This is episode 2, like we said, of Ask IOG, fueled exclusively by your community questions. Now, currently, this is a monthly show, only because we're only receiving enough questions to do this show about once a month. And the goal is to eventually make it weekly, have it come every Friday to not only YouTube, because right now it is exclusive to YouTube, but have it to come to podcasting services as well, because I know all of you Spotify listeners out there have had to transition into YouTube at your inconvenience, I'm sure. Join us on YouTube for this show, but our goal eventually is to make it available on multiple platforms, and that is all up to you guys. The more we grow, the more questions we can receive and make it a more regular occurrence. And that being said, thankfully, we received enough questions this month to have 2 episodes. So we will have an episode this week and next week, which is very exciting. So if you guys just keep those questions coming, remember, they can literally be anything you want, and you'll get a taste of that today. We got a lot of fun ones that are non-video game related.
I prefer
anything you think of
for this show, non-video game related.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I mean, of course, we spawned from a video game channel, and this will exist on said channel, but this is an opportunity for us all to get to know each other beyond video games as well. So the more random it is, the more fun it becomes. So we encourage you guys to send us any and all questions you can think of.
Garrett, I got a question for you.
What's that, Jacob?
You just said that this was a monthly show, but now it's a two episodes a month show.
Yes. Now, we can get to a weekly show very quickly if people just keep sending us questions, but it's all up to you guys. So it only exists when you want it to exist. And I know that's, I mean, it's not easy for me to be like, oh, I'll just send them a question today. Like, what kind of bed sheets do you use? I mean, anything that crosses your mind and you feel like asking us, just go ahead and send it, and I imagine we'll address it at some point. But that being said, let's just jump in, guys. This is episode 2. Let's get rolling. We're starting it with a big one. You guys ready for this? This comes from Ren. Ren says, IOG suddenly becomes the largest gaming podcast and generates bukus of revenue. Do you expand your brand into other platforms? What do you think, boys?
Like action figures and stuff?
Yeah, action figures.
Yeah, what platforms
merch, a clothing line. We'll do live concerts of original IOG music. That sounds a lot like tribal dance music. You know, stuff like that.
Okay.
How would you guys like the style of action figures? Would you want hot toy versions of us that are very realized and look realistic and they're really expensive? You kind of just put them on display? Or would you want stylized versions like a brat doll? Like imagine Jacob as a brat doll with big eyes and massive lips and his gorgeous upper body and torso with very slim legs and perhaps high heels. What do you guys think? Which direction would you prefer? Or would you prefer action figures that have interchangeable outfits, kind of like Barbies?
I don't think I want an action figure of me.
Why not?
I don't know. I don't have the ego.
What about a Lego version of you?
I'm fine with that.
Okay. You don't have like the ego? What do you mean, Jacob? You're the most beautiful man on this podcast.
Yeah, but I don't go around, bragging about it.
I mean, that's a great thing, and I'm sure everyone appreciates that. But it's okay to recognize, like, man, I really look good.
I guess.
I can imagine you making a great Ken doll.
I don't know. I mean, I'm fine with like merchandise, you know.
Okay.
I think that thing's really cool, but I don't want to be idolized per se.
No, absolutely not. I'm the exact same way. I'm one of those people who I cannot stand drawing attention to myself, and it's different with It's Obvious Gaming because I think of It's Obvious Gaming as like a brand, sort of just like, oh, we're just making video game videos, not really drawing attention to ourselves or each other. But, I mean, I realize attention comes along with that, but I'm never one to draw attention to myself. For example, I know we're all the same. I mean, of course, it was different in high school. I was posting all kinds of crap on the internet. But nowadays, I don't post Facebook statuses. I don't share my opinions online. I don't tell anyone it's my birthday. I've hidden my birthday on Facebook because I hate it when people that I don't even know comment like, happy birthday, I'm all. And don't get me wrong, I appreciate the thought. It's awesome. But if I can make it through my birthday without anyone, with the exception of my immediate family, telling me happy birthday, then it's a success. Which sucks because we're going to reveal our birthdays later on in this episode. But I don't like drawing attention to myself, but I would not mind an action figure. That'd be pretty cool. Maybe a stuffed animal of some sort. Sleep with a stuffed animal version of yourself.
Yeah, you see what would be special about your action figure is that you could do your hair in so many different ways.
You're right.
It comes with a comb.
Like a Barbie with the different hairstyles you can do. That's a great point, Jacob. Preston, you haven't really chimed in. How do you feel about the action figure thing?
I'd be fine with action figures. I'd like a nice collectible to hang up on the shelf.
Right? You know, along with all your other statues, just a statue of you.
Yeah, I'd be fine with that.
Now, what pose do you think you'd be in?
Something casual.
Okay.
Maybe just
suggestive.
Or suggestive. Maybe a casual suggestive.
So
like
how about
just
casual
like
up top, suggestive down low?
Yeah, leaning up, just like I'm leaning up against a wall, but my dick's out.
And you're biting your lip.
Exactly. That's exactly what I had in mind.
Yeah.
What if we, you know those 3 faces we have on Discord?
Yeah.
Of us 3?
Mm-hmm.
What if we had a coffee mug with those faces on it?
I was thinking that'd be kind of fun. What if we had a comic book about us?
Yeah.
It'd be so boring. I don't know. It'd have to be
That'd
like
be the most
action-based.
boring comic book of all time. It's like
watch Preston tinkering with wires.
Yeah. Waking up super early, doing nothing interesting.
I'd just be editing a video and Jacob be lifting some dumbbells or something.
I'd just be at the gym.
Now, Jacob could come with interchangeable weights that you could work your character out with. Maybe you have this weird new version of an action figure that has some sort of chemical fluid in it that every time you move it, it gets bigger. Yeah. So you can work out your Jacob Alka action figure and it gets bigger or smaller depending on what
out
you
your
do.
action figure as you work out as well.
Exactly. No, I really love the action figure idea. In addition to action figures, possibly a pinball machine and an It's Obvious Gaming theme of some sort. Maybe it has all kinds of different video game sounds of games we love. I don't know. Perhaps games we hate, like Final Fantasy 15. You know what I mean, guys? Are you still there, Preston?
Yeah, I'm here.
I don't mean to be offensive. You know, I'm just pulling your strings here. But anything else we can think of brand-wise before we move on?
No. Nope.
Okay. All right. I mean, we could sell a T-shirt with Jacob's torso on it. It'd be pretty cool.
I just want to have some T-shirts. That's kind of what
We'll get there.
I want to accomplish at some point.
Maybe by the end of this year, we'll have a T-shirt out.
That'd be a good goal.
Yeah, I think we'll make that our goal. Have a T-shirt out. Probably that black pocket tee with the OG logo on it. It's probably the best starting point.
Sounds good.
We'd love to hear your thoughts on all that.
That's an
ladies and gentlemen.
attractive tee.
No, I agree. I'd like it. Roscoe says, now this is very, very important to me, and Jacob and I had a very minor argument before the episode started about this. You okay over there? All right, we're back. Sorry, Preston had a brief mishap with his telephone, but all's well now.
Sorry.
But like I was saying, this is a very, very important question because Jacob and I had a minor argument prior to this episode beginning. We both seem very passionate about this subject. You ready? Roscoe says, toilet paper, over or under? Why don't you start with us, Jacob?
No, you go first.
You want me to go first? Okay.
Yep.
Now, just so everyone knows what we're talking about here, I think Jacob and I were a little confused at first. He means when you see toilet paper on a roll hanging off your little, whatever you call it that holds the toilet paper holder, I guess. Does the toilet paper pull over the top of the roll, or do you pull from under the roll? I'm a top-only man, because it makes absolutely no sense to pull from the bottom. It just makes no sense. Because when you're pulling from the top, you can easily tear it off. You can see where it is. You don't have to reach under all awkward-like.
It's not that big of a deal.
And it's not really a big deal, but at the same time, it kind of is because it doesn't. Why would you pull from under it? And it hangs weirdly. Like it's the tail of it is pointing towards the wall or behind the toilet. Why isn't it pointing towards you? You should be inviting. You're pulling this paper off, and for a very intimate reason. So it should always, I feel like it should be coming over top. How do you feel about it, Preston?
I don't care.
Okay.
The toilet paper in my bathroom currently, I don't even have a holder. It just sits there. So I just pick up the roll, unroll it, and then I sit it back down.
Okay.
But I guess if I were to pick a side, I guess I'd have to agree with you because you made a very valid argument.
Right. I mean, that just makes sense to me. But what about you, Jacob?
You have a good point. But I'm like Preston, I don't care.
Right.
And also like Preston, usually my toilet paper isn't even on a roll. It's, just sitting on
Now, is it because you're both
counter.
lazy and you don't swap it out, or do you just not have one?
I don't need to put it on there. I can just
I literally
take it out,
don't I don't have one in my bathroom.
Okay. See, that's fine, but you have one, don't you, Jacob? Because I'm pretty sure most bathrooms...
Actually, I don't think I do, no.
I guess most bathrooms either come equipped with one or you have to add one yourself. Like mine isn't attached to a wall. It's on a little gridiron
Yeah, I don't
stand.
have one. I just realized.
Okay.
But I'm going to give you a little insight into how much of a freak I am
All right.
in the bathroom. So the reason it doesn't matter to me is because I rip individual tissues or toilet paper sheets. You know how they have like the little indentions?
Yes.
I take them off one by one.
What the fuck?
And
What is wrong with you?
And I fold them twice. I fold them once like a hot dog, and then again.
Dude, do you
And I
get
make a little
crap all
square.
over your fingers when you do this?
No.
That is
Yeah.
You don't
amazing.
pull
I'm
like
very particular.
you don't pull
That
like
way-
a length of it and then cut it?
No. Well, sometimes I'll do two little pieces, but usually just one.
Why?
And I fold it twice because then it's thick enough so that it won't rip.
How long? You're like
For
doing
whatever reason.
origami after a shit.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
wipe your damn butt.
just wipe your ass, man.
I don't know why I do it. It's just what I do.
So
I never have any problems.
So you take an individual square, fold it twice,
Fold it
and
twice.
you wipe.
Yep.
That is so interesting, Jacob.
Yeah.
I've never known that about
Jacob,
you.
I'll never look at you
Now
the
you
same
know.
way.
I'm proud of it.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, who are we kidding? And we typically stick to the butt wipes anyway nowadays. Speaking
Yeah.
of which, I only have one left, and I'm freaking out.
Oh, by the way, I did pick some up, and they are very great.
Oh, nice. Now, how do you use the
I
butt
just
wipe?
use those as
They
anyone
come.
would, yeah.
Okay. No, I actually pull off a length of toilet paper, and I used to fold it. I mean, if I'm in the mood, like an elegant type of mood, I'll fold it.
Elegant.
But I typically just ball it up and do my thing.
Oh, I gotta
See?
fold it. I can't do a ball because I'll wipe with one side, and then I'll fold in on that to cover up the residue, and then I'll fold what's left there, and
So
then
Preston's-
I'll fold it again, and then I'll wipe again.
So Preston's all about saving paper.
Right,
You
okay.
see.
Well, I mean, I don't pull off like half the thing. I pull off maybe between 6 and 8 squares.
Jeez, man, you're wasting so much paper.
Well, I mean, I got to do my thing. See, I actually have a technique, Preston, where if it's balled up, I can still manage to fold it and get it around it to get a couple wipes in with each amount of toilet paper. So
I'd like to
I don't waste
inspect
that
you
much.
doing that one day. I want to see.
no, you absolutely can. Now, do you guys wipe from the front or
Both.
the back?
Both.
Both.
Both. Gotta get it both ways, because if you wipe one way, then there's gonna be some gunk being pushed in that direction. So you gotta hit it with the opposite just to get all of it.
No, I agree. That's crucial, but it's a dangerous game too when you're wiping from the front because you can get it all over your other bits on your way out of the hole.
You gotta be careful.
So.
You can't do it. You can't just go just crazy down there. You gotta think about what you're doing.
No, wiping your ass is no easy task. It's no
No.
game. You got to take it seriously. But yeah.
So
what
I
was
think
the question? Over or under?
an answer that we could all agree on and vote on would be over then.
Yeah, over for sure. See, my
Okay.
mother puts them all under because I think her mother did that.
Okay.
And don't be wrong, it like at the end of the day, it really does not matter. But you got to, when you really think about it, why would you put it under when it should probably be over? That's all I really have to say about that one.
I don't know, Garrett.
The next one comes from Jared B. He says, have any of you played Mother 3? I got to be honest, I have no idea what Mother 3 is.
Never
Do you guys
heard
know
of
what
it.
Mother 3 is?
It's a NES RPG. that it's what Ness comes from on Super Smash Brothers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Alrighty. No, I have not played Mother 3.
I've not
have you
played
played Mother
either.
3? Okay. Because I should have researched that, but I didn't. So I was hoping.
I thought that game was called something else. It's called Mother
It's called
3.
Earthbound in America, but it's
Yeah.
Mother in Japan.
Okay. That's probably why I didn't recognize that title then, because I've never heard of anything called Mother. At least a game. Next one comes
We're
from
talking
Meow.
about the never mind. Continue.
Okay. The next one comes from Meow. He says, non-gaming related question, sorry, sad face. Meow, and this goes to everyone else. You never have to apologize for non-gaming questions, I promise. Send us anything you got. But he says, do any of you guys play do any of you guys play any instrument? If so, which and for how long? Preston?
Yes, I played guitar and mandolin for about
Long time.
10, 11, 12, 13 years, probably.
Yeah, a long time.
So I haven't picked it up in a while. It's been a few
Right.
months. But,
Well, it comes naturally to you. It's kind of like riding a bike.
I guess. But
You could be a little rusty around the edges, but you can pick it up quickly once you get back to it.
No, that was all through middle school and early high school. Actually, that's how I made my money, was traveling around and playing music.
Yes, and you were
So-
quite good at it, and I occasionally tagged along to those events, specifically the big game dinners, and I enjoyed some frog legs and alligator on multiple occasions.
I don't think I ever
So-
tried any of that.
I was convinced you were a rock star, though, when we were kids.
I was a
doing all
rock
that stuff.
star.
You wore that little mandolin, and great crowds, too. It was good. Jacob, you don't play any instruments, do you?
I don't. I attempted to learn how to play guitar, the acoustic guitar back in the day, but I gave up for whatever reason.
Okay.
Probably just lack of time.
All
So
right.
I was in high school at the time, so
You were just picking up chicks
yeah,
instead.
had a lot of stuff going on, man.
I feel you.
But I've always wanted to learn the piano.
Okay.
But I've just never had a piano to learn on. So
Alrighty, I get that. You could learn the piano on a super cheap keyboard if you wanted to.
yeah, I've thought about that. It's just a matter of buying one when I still want to get other things. Like
I mean, you
a
could probably
Switch,
get one
example.
for like $20 at Walmart.
I don't want a toy, Garrett.
I feel you, but I mean, still, you can technically learn how to play it if that's where you wanted to start.
Thanks.
It's all about choices.
Thank you.
I feel you. Well, I have attempted to play the drums on and off since middle school. I've never really stuck with it consistently. I think the most time I spent playing the drums was maybe a 2-year span straight where I played weekly, but never really got past an intermediate level. I mean, I could play fine, but I never got to a level where I could play professionally. But of course, Preston and I have mentioned multiple times we were in bands, 2 bands together. I mean, arguably 3, but 2. And we had some good times, and never really went beyond the garage level. We played a handful of shows, and funny enough, I don't know if I've ever mentioned this, the worst band I was in, we played for the biggest crowds. The first crowd we ever played for was at a summer camp talent show for about, I think it was 1,500 people, maybe a little less. It was between 1,300 and 1,500. One of the most embarrassing moments of my life. I have the video on my Facebook account still, and we thought we were the coolest thing ever because we headlined the entire talent show.
Yep.
And it was amazing. And I will say, as bad as we sounded, it was one of the most memorable experiences I've ever had in my life. I'll never forget it. But looking back on that video, you talk about cringe. Holy crap, guys. Preston, I don't know when the last time you watched that was, but it is cringe to the max. And I really think you should take a look at it later. I think you'll really appreciate it.
I remember
it'd be my honor.
me and our friend named Ridge, we stood up to support you guys, and no one else would stand up.
Was that at oh yeah, well, everyone did stand up at the end.
Did they?
Yeah, they did.
Okay.
That was the only cool moment. Like, as crappy as we sounded, we got 1,500 people to
I
stand up.
remember being the first one to stand up.
Yeah, and it was even worse because it was an original song that was also just terrible. So, good times.
Which
but
song was it?
It was called Self-Righteous Suicide.
Oh, yeah.
It was inspired by, or the title was inspired by Chop Suey by System of a Down. That's
Good
where we
song.
got that line. But what else? I think we played for a crowd after that for about 600 people after a very big rivalry football game for our high schools. We played for about 500 people at a big event after the football game, and then I think the last time we played for a big crowd was at another church thing where we played for about 700 kids. And I have no idea why all these opportunities presented themselves to us because we sounded so bad. But everyone let us play for some reason. It was awesome. I'll never forget those times. And I think actually, Preston, on our Twitch stream last night, you and I were talking about daydreams you used to have. And I mentioned that I used to have a daydream as a kid. Like, man, I'd love to play in a band for a talent show. And I got to live that dream my senior year of high school. And that was also embarrassing. But I did play with a band in high school at a talent show, and that dream was fulfilled. So, at great cost too, because we looked like idiots. But yeah, I've just attempted to play drums. I haven't played drums probably in a year and a half now. I've had no reason to. And ever since mine and Preston's metal band went into limbo, I haven't really picked up an instrument. I imagine it's kind of been the same for you too, Preston. Ever since that kind of went under, you and I have just kind of done this full time.
For the most part.
Yeah, but. Yeah, I've always wanted to learn keys as well. I mean, the first instrument I ever owned was courtesy of Preston's grandpa. He bought my dad and I acoustic guitars. My dad and I were going to try to learn acoustic guitars, and we never played them. I still have that acoustic guitar. I've yet to learn it, and I can play 4 or 5 chords on it, and that's it. So, never went beyond that. Now, I understand all of the notes and chords and octaves and such of a keyboard because I had to learn it in music school, or a piano, I should say. But I can't play any songs. If I hit a key, I know which note it is, and I know how to play chords and switch octaves and all that. But I can't physically play any songs on the piano. So other than that, that's all the instrument stuff we got going on. But Ren also wants to know if you could play any instrument perfectly, what would it be?
I'll be really boring and just say, actually, no. I'm gonna say violin.
Okay.
Which I played violin in high school through school. So I played violin for like 13 years. But I would love to be able to play violin at like a super like professional level. That'd be really cool.
Yeah, violin is a beautiful instrument. What about you, Jacob?
Probably piano or violin, yeah.
Okay.
Violin's a very pleasant sound.
It is.
Sure.
Absolutely. I know this is generic, but I'd love to play the guitar perfectly. I've always wanted to learn the guitar. I just don't have enough self-discipline to do so. Because, I mean, other than making YouTube videos, I could spend any amount of free time I had learning that instrument, but I just don't do it. Because, I mean, learning anything is never that fun, especially when it's something you're not really fired up about. Like, I'm not dying to learn the guitar, but if I had the urge to do so, that's what I'd probably want to learn to the best of my ability. And I know this isn't necessarily an instrument. You could argue that one's voice is their instrument, but I'd love to be a very talented singer. I have no singing ability whatsoever, but I've always been, I wouldn't say envious or jealous, but I've always thought people who are born with incredible singing voices are very blessed, because I feel like the greatest singers in the world are just born with that ability. Of course, a moderately talented singer could advance to a really spectacular level, but that's pretty rare. So I feel like the greatest singers are always born with that ability, and I was certainly not born with it. I've tried, believe me, but it hasn't worked out so well. But moving on, Sam Harris says, "Hey guys, I want to know your thoughts on esports. I have followed them for a little while now, and they're gaining traction in terms of popularity and legitimacy as a sport." Did I pronounce that right? Legitimacy as a sport. Do you think there will be a time when we have the attention, or that they have the attention and revenue that mainstream sports have? Are there any games you guys follow? I really botched your question, Sam. Please forgive me.
I actually looked into this a little bit. I personally don't follow esports that much, but I do think it's cool. And I was looking up like how many viewers watch stuff, and I saw in League of Legends in 2015 it had 36 million unique viewers from around the world watch League of Legends, which is just pretty ridiculous. I think for the Super Bowl it was like, gosh, I hope I'm saying these numbers right, but I saw it was like 111 million. So it's definitely still like a niche group of people, but it's a very, very big niche group of people. Another guy who's like the CEO of some company, he said it takes like 50 years for something to really become a sport. The football was like invented in 1869, I think, and the NFL was founded in 1920. So I think his argument was within 50 years, if it keeps growing as it's growing. I didn't actually see the percentage, but the stuff I looked at, like, it is growing tremendously year after year after year, that it'll probably be faster than any other sport that the mainstream follows in terms of how fast it gains popularity. So, yeah, like I said, I don't really follow it. I think it's really cool. I'll watch like fighting games every now and then, but yeah, it looks to be and I think he said 20 or 2025 or something, that it should be pretty huge. So it's pretty much the extent of the research I did.
Yeah, no, that's totally true. I would imagine like people who have researched it and followed it. As I've said, it should be much bigger, especially a decade from now, which is awesome. And I don't keep up with it myself either, but whenever I do tune into any esports event, whether it be Overwatch or a fighting game or even a racing game just randomly, I'm always thoroughly entertained. And not only do I enjoy watching them destroy everyone, but you can actually learn a lot from watching these professional players and learn how to play games that you didn't know how to play them before. Not that you didn't know how to play them, but learn new things to do. Like, oh, I never thought to try this or do that. Well, whether it be a certain character or a certain game mechanic you never utilized in a certain way is always interesting. So I don't keep up with esports, but I've always thought it'd be cool to have. Now, I know we have hometown esports teams. There's an Overwatch team here, isn't there? Or is it Call of Duty?
There's both.
Okay. I always thought it'd be cool to have like merch of your hometown esports team, especially when it gets bigger. That'd be really cool. But I've always wanted to attend a live esports event. I think that'd be a lot of fun because it always seems like there's a lot of energy in those rooms.
I know there's a lot of downtime, so
right.
Like I've never been there myself.
Downtime is in like in between each match and such. See, that just sounds fun to me.
Because they got to set up. Because I'm pretty sure most people have their own computers, so they have to deal with all that after every match.
Yeah.
So
that's good that they allow people to bring their own gear because I can imagine any professional player playing on a rig he's not used to. One, it would be a little uncomfortable, but two, if something malfunctions, they'll be like, the gear messed up. It's not my fault. We lost. So it's cool.
I know at the very least, like. For computers example, people have their own keyboards and mice. So
yeah, that'd be like playing football and you can't bring your own cleats or something.
Right. Yeah, that is cool. But see, that's the thing. Even if there is downtime in between events, at least in a live scenario, I still just like being in that environment. Anything that's even slightly video game oriented, I just love being in that environment, which is awesome. So, which is why we do this every week, because we can talk video games all the time. But yeah, esports is great. They're rapidly growing, and I imagine as it continues to grow, I may start following someone or something at some point. So
one last thing, if you've never checked out Smash Bros. Esports,
I have.
Watch
it's
it.
Really cool.
It is insane.
It is unbelievable. It's unbelievable. I actually watched the end of a Street Fighter Pro event recently, and it was pretty fascinating as well. All those fighting games are incredible.
Dude, when I was a kid, DirecTV used to have like this sponsored gaming show that would come on at night, and I don't know what exactly it was, but it consisted of like Dead or Alive, I think Unreal Tournament or Quake, one of those games, and it would come on like past midnight, and I'd watch them on weekends.
Nice.
So
that's awesome.
Yeah, that was a long time ago too. Like that was years ago. So
like, are we talking like early 2000s? Or a little after that, like 2005 or so?
I think I was, I'd say around there. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, aside from what we do with our YouTube channel, anything gaming related that I'd love to do, if I was talented enough, I'd love to be a pro gamer and a shooter of some sort, because I've always thought that's so cool. Now, Preston and I are arguably pros at Doom, but that's probably only because we haven't played actual pros. Now, if we played actual pros, it'd be a different story. But speaking of Doom, I've thrown this out there once or twice, but if you consider yourself to be pretty good at Doom, then please let Preston and I know, and let's try playing together, because Preston and I wipe the floor with nearly every team we play or play against. So if we had just one more or two more players on our team that are at that level, I cannot imagine the destruction we could cause. Sorry. So maybe we can make a pro team, dude. We're going to go MLG. It's going to be sick.
Who are you going to play?
I have no idea. I don't know who plays Doom professionally.
I don't think anyone does.
We'll be the first pro Doom team. We'll bring it into the mainstream, and it will become a swiftly growing esport to follow.
That'd be amazing.
I don't know what our team name would be. We'll figure that out later. But seriously, anyone who's pretty good at Doom, let us know. I know Kyle, I know you've said it before. Join us when we play again. We'll see how it goes. I'm excited. So Ren says, what are your favorite discontinued Taco Bell items? You got some, don't you, Jacob?
Yeah, of course, the beefy nacho, what is it, burrito?
The beefy crunch burrito. That's one of mine as well.
And also
is that discontinued? Because that's like a seasonal thing, though.
I mean, we could say it like that. Let's call them all seasonal. How about that? Because it technically is seasonal.
Well, yeah.
And then also the more recent naked chicken chalupa.
Yes, absolutely. That thing was delicious. Now, have you guys seen the picture of the chicken chips that are coming?
No.
I have
Did I
seen
send you
that.
guys this picture?
I've seen it. Looks good.
They're little fried chicken chips in the shape of like Dorito chips, and you can dip them in cheese and such. They're coming May 11th, next week.
I might have to leave the nachos behind for a little while.
Yeah, get those instead.
Yeah.
And instead of saying, I'll have the nachos, just say, I'll have the chicken chips.
Dude, what if you could have Nacho Supreme, but instead of the chips, having those chicken chips in there?
Holy crap.
That'd be
It would be in their
amazing.
best interest to do that, for sure. It's almost like getting a basket of chicken nuggets, but it's chicken chips with all that other good stuff on it.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, dude. If they don't know to do that already, you need to pitch that to them. That is brilliant.
I'm horny now.
Turning me on now. No, that's very exciting. Discontinued. I mean, we could pretend like Beefy Crunch is discontinued. If that was discontinued, I'd be very disappointed. I love that. Naked Chicken Chalupa. What's a third one that has come through?
Dude, I have a list for you.
Okay, let's hear it.
First on the list is the Enchilito.
Now, see, I'm not familiar with all these obscure Taco Bell items. So
the
you're gonna have to explain them.
Enchilito is just pure nostalgia for me, because when my mother used to eat meat years and years ago, I'll go back to my childhood. We frequently went to Taco Bell, which is why I have such love for Taco Bell, because I've been going there frequently since I was a child. And my mother used to get the Enchilito. It was essentially a taco rolled up, and it had like a red sauce and cheese over it, and it was put in like a steamer or something to melt the cheese on top. It was essentially a taco covered in sauce that you would eat with a fork. And I remember it being very good. And like I said, it just reminds me of being a child. So that would be my one. Number two, I'm going to say the grilled stuffed nacho. Even though I got food poisoning from it, it's still a good item. I still like it. You like the grilled stuffed nacho, don't you, Garrett?
No, that one I didn't like as much because it has that weird sriracha sauce in it, doesn't it?
No, it shouldn't. I think they messed up on yours and put that in there because it's not supposed to.
Okay, because I do not like the spicy.
It's just supposed to have
sauce.
nacho cheese in it. That's it.
Okay. So well, in that case, I'm sure I would.
See, when I worked at Taco Bell, we sometimes ran out of sauces, and my manager would be just like, "Just put whatever sauce you want in there." So that might have happened to you.
Okay.
So, third on my list is the flatbread sandwiches. I loved those. The chicken flatbread, they were like $1 when they came out. All it was chicken, cheese, this like smoky sauce that they add just for them, and that was it. It wasn't too long ago that these were in circulation. Do you remember? You know what I'm talking about? They're like the little flatbread sandwiches, the little squares.
I remember those. Yeah, you could get them with like steak or chicken.
Exactly.
The cheese and all. Yep,
I really like those. Those are good.
Those were tasty.
I don't think I had those.
The Baja chicken chalupas, rest in peace. Those, those are so good. Garrett, I think I got you hooked on those, if I'm not mistaken. Before they,
before they vanished, I did try one and I was blown away.
Yeah, they're really amazing. It just sucks that the Baja sauce in general is gone. They just keep getting rid of their sauces, but I was a big fan of that. And my number one item that I am still devastated to this day that I got rid of is the spicy chicken Crunchwrap. The best Crunchwrap.
Dude,
I
never had that.
Oh, so good, dude. That's nostalgic for me as well.
I love the Crunchwraps.
Yeah, they had this spicy chicken it was like shredded chicken, like marinated or mixed in with this brown spicy sauce. And it's just in the Crunchwrap, and it was freaking amazing. I got it non-stop every single time I went there, and then they got rid of it. So
that does sound good. The first time I had Taco Bell was with you and your mother, Preston, when you met my mother and I at that bookstore we used to meet at, and we'd go to each other's houses every other weekend. Well, we had Taco Bell on the way back, and I was a little frightened because I'd never really had it before. When I was younger, my mom never took us there for some reason. But I had a chicken quesadilla. It was the first item I ever had from Taco Bell, and that's what started my love for the brand, and I've loved it ever since.
See, it's interesting that you say that because I didn't grow up with Taco Bell either.
Okay.
Because I had it probably for the first time in early middle school or something.
Alrighty.
Because I was a McDonald's boy.
Yeah.
I always got the Happy Meals, and all the toys.
The toys were great. I actually liked Burger King a lot, too, when I was a kid.
Dude, I like Burger King now. The past 2 weekends, I'll eat Taco Bell with you guys for lunch on Saturday, and then for dinner, I'll run by the local Burger King and get a Whopper, and it's delectable. I really, the past couple of months, I've had a craving for Whoppers, and they're really good.
Yeah, I haven't had Burger King in a while, but I actually heard from my girlfriend they have Coke Ices going on right now at Burger King.
They have a pretty good ice cream, too. I got a milkshake a few weeks ago, and it wasn't too bad either.
That's awesome.
I've never had a Whopper.
Making me crave
You've
a Whopper.
never had a Whopper, Jacob?
Now, you have had a Big Mac by now,
I've
right?
had a bite of a Big Mac.
Yeah, previously you had not ever tried one.
Nope.
And that wasn't that long ago.
What'd you think of the Big Mac?
It was good. Yeah.
The Big Mac?
Good.
I think
why
you
won't
need to
finish
try
it?
a Whopper, Jacob.
It's probably just the same thing, right?
No.
A Whopper? No,
has like
no,
lettuce
no.
and tomato and
Just a
everything.
A Burger
Big
King
burger.
burger tastes at nothing like a McDonald's burger.
It's
They
totally
are
different.
totally different. It's that flame broiled patty, man.
Yeah.
Tastes totally different.
And they got the sesame seed bun, which I appreciate.
Yeah.
Now, a Big Mac has a sesame seed bun as well. But
Yeah. Well, I
Burger
like
King kind of did that.
Burger
prior.
King has this zesty dipping sauce for their onion rings, and I just dip my burger into that sauce, and it's just so good.
That's not a bad idea at all. Now,
Yeah.
you can't go wrong with putting your onion rings on your Whopper either.
Oh, yeah, that's good too. They used to have this A1 Steakhouse Whopper that I used to get all the time, but that's discontinued, unfortunately.
And shout out to the Quarter Pounder and Double Quarter Pounder at McDonald's as well. Those are some good burgers.
I can't even tell you the last time I had a burger at McDonald's. Probably been years.
It's been at least a year for me. I haven't been there in a long time either.
Yeah.
Not that I'm against McDonald's. I just don't really have a
when
a
I
desire
went
to
on
go there.
that date with that girl, ended up coming to your house at like 2 a.m. after. That was the last time I had McDonald's.
Okay, I don't recall who that was or when that was.
That was
but-
over a year ago.
Okay.
So
I
think I got
can't-
like a 20-piece nugget and a Big Mac, and went back to your house, and you were mixing something, and I ate it behind you. So
I was mixing something.
I
Was
think
it-
you were mixing
Oh,
something. Yeah.
Okay, you mean for like music or
Yeah,
something?
you weren't sitting with a bowl mixing something.
Okay, was I mixing fruit or a salad or something? No, I do remember that. Now, you got so many nuggets, I was kind of appalled by it. I think you ate all of them too,
Of course.
or most of them.
Yeah,
that was
eating
that was
20
awesome.
nuggets isn't a big deal. You can inhale
No.
those things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can take
They're
this
so
down.
good.
And whenever I have some chicken tenders, I like cooking up downstairs, and they're so good. But I typically have between 10 and 12 every
I am
time I eat them.
famished right now. I'm so hungry.
Dude, so am I. I wish we were all together because I'm starving. I know Jacob's pretty hungry. We could all feast together, but
Yeah.
kind of out of luck, I guess. I had Taco Bell last night as well.
Garrett, I told you on the live stream that where I'm going to live, this home will not be home until me and you bring Taco Bell into it and look each other in the eyes and eat there.
All right, now you also sent me a picture. There's a brand new Taco Bell just down the street from your house.
Just down
right?
the street from my house. We were looking around to see what was there, dude, and literally within, like I said, a 2-minute drive, brand new Zaxby's, brand new Wendy's, brand new Chick-fil-A, brand new Taco Bell, brand new Longhorns, brand new Stevie B's Pizza, brand new Mickey D's, a Target, a Publix, a brand new giant movie theater. Like it's pretty cool down there.
Yeah, Preston, I got to say that's how I like to define destiny, my friend. Everything you need is within your immediate vicinity. That's awesome.
You mean Bungie's Destiny, right?
Exactly. That's actually Destiny 2 is all about the amazing restaurants that surround you in your hometown. So, but yeah, we'll do that soon, Preston. I'm really looking forward to that.
Oh, I am too.
The next one comes from Lindell. He says, "What was your favorite game when you were younger, and what is your favorite game now?" Now, younger could be any age group when you were younger, middle school, elementary school, high school, I don't know. But I'm going to go ahead and say my favorite game when I was youngest, one of the first games I ever played, was Super Mario World. I still love that game today, and I will no doubt play it on Virtual Console. I imagine when it makes its way there, hopefully, or on the SNES Classic down the road. We'll see which one it lands on. But absolutely adore that game when I was younger. It was probably one of my favorites. I've had multiple favorite games when I was younger, but that was my original favorite game.
Yeah.
And then nowadays, I will say my favorite game most recently is Horizon Zero Dawn. But within arguably this generation, probably The Last of Us. But
Yeah.
I'll end it there. What about you guys?
Mine is like, if you've watched more than 5 episodes of this podcast, you know mine's Ocarina of Time. So that was my first favorite. Probably now my favorite game has to be Breath of the Wild. as of now. The Last of Us is, if we're talking about best games that I think The Last of Us is there. But in terms of like my favorite right now, definitely has to be Breath of the Wild.
I feel you. What about you, Jacob?
Growing up, was a really big fan of Pokemon Gold and Silver, Mario Kart, and Smash Bros. On the N64. What else?
But what was the game, Jacob? Which one just called to you at all times?
When I was younger?
Yep.
It was Kingdom Hearts.
Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah,
okay.
The first one. And the second one, too. I liked them both. I guess now, something that I played more recently, Horizon, was fantastic. Really liked that game. But I've made a switch recently. I think my favorite game of all time now is World of Warcraft.
World of Warcraft.
Yep.
I understand that you spent or you invested a lot of time in
really
that world.
Did. I can't. I'm gonna get back on my account one day and see how many days I put into that game.
I can't even begin to imagine.
I can't either.
It's gonna be beautiful.
It's probably over a month or something.
Yeah.
Way over that.
Possibly, yeah. I forgot to mention Breath of the Wild. It is wonderful, and I imagine by the time I wrap it up, it will also be one of my favorites. It's been nothing but amazing every time I play it. So
I'm very excited to play it. I plan on getting a Switch very soon.
Hopefully this weekend.
Yeah, hopefully. I'll get my paycheck. When is this going up? Next week?
This is going up
Friday.
This is going up. This is a Friday, if people are listening on a Friday. So it went up on a Friday if you're listening in the year 2024.
I'll be searching for my Switch as people are watching this.
Excellent. That's great.
I probably won't find one, but
well, I certainly hope you do. I hope it's kind of like the situation when I hunted
Jacob,
down a PS4.
I'll check down here. There's a Walmart that Jay finds literally everything, and he found an NES Classic there, and he found his Switch there too. So I'll check to see if they have any for you.
Yeah, I'd appreciate that.
Yeah, dude.
Excellent. Jacob, I'm going to believe you are going to acquire a Nintendo Switch this weekend. You're going to.
I like that.
I know it. The next one comes from Bohongares, Mr. Kyle. He says, okay, guys, this one I want you to be creative with. Shopping spree. You guys have $1,000 to spend on whatever entertainment you want. Movies, games, music, or butt wipes. Hence the butt wipes especially. Build your own shopping list and let us hear what you would do with a few extra dollars hanging around. And my dogs are singing like a choir as I read that question. $1,000, guys. Anything you want. Now we could be. We could express our inner desperation for admiration and attention by saying, we're just going to collectively put it all towards charity and then publicly announce that to the world so everyone praises us.
What if that's what I want to do?
I'm saying that's okay. I think when people donate to charity, it should always be in private, unless it accomplishes something by it being public. But I think anyone who just openly is like, yeah, I donated all this money to charity. You
don't like people bragging or boasting.
Yeah, I do not like that at all. I just don't even believe it means anything if you donate to charity and just brag about it.
I would use that money for bills.
Bills
right now.
Yeah, right now I would probably use it all for gas money because I'm still trying to find a solid position on the weekends to make money. And I'm doing stuff on the side, but it isn't adding up a whole lot. I'm still trying to find something. What's the word I'm looking for? Consistent on the weekends. So I would probably put it all towards gas money.
Garrett, speaking of that, because this topic, something even close to what I'm about to say, probably won't come out for the rest of this podcast.
Okay.
But I thought I'd tell you really quick. This is pretty exciting for me. The next 8 weeks of my life, the next 8 weeks of work, is in Atlanta. So I'm going to be not traveling for the next 2 months pretty much. Okay. And I'm going to be working with a new company where the hours are 8-hour days, but my pay is going to be increased to compensate for that. And my hours are from 5 a.m. to 1 p.m. So I will have literally the entire day off, and that'll be for 8 weeks straight.
That's pretty much what I'm doing.
That is so awesome.
I know.
I love that.
I'm very pumped. So I can work and do all this E3 stuff coming this summer because I'll literally be off in time to do everything.
Yeah, so. That is so good.
I'll tell you what, though, waking up at 4:30 in the morning is not fun.
Yeah, I know. That's going to suck ass, but...
Yeah. I've been doing it for a couple weeks
I think it'd be kind of fun at the same time.
Yeah, at least you have the entire whole day off after that.
Right, yeah, you get the day off, and something about getting... Now, I don't like getting up early, but when I have to get up early, what gets me out of bed is my morning coffee. I love... Now, this is the only reason I like driving to school through the hectic traffic is because I have a big old cup of coffee, got my cinnamon coffee cake, and I got a killer podcast to listen to on the way there. So it is always awesome for me, and it's worth the trip every time. Now, the trip home sucks even more because I'm just ready to be home. I'm not really in the mood for coffee, and you just have to fight your way through the traffic, and it's an absolute nightmare. But the morning commute, I'm all good with that.
So anyway, sorry for that sidetracking us there, but I'd either pay bills or I'd get a really, really good PC. Well, as much as I could for $1,000.
That's my answer, is I would build an awesome PC.
Yeah, I think all of us would begin putting those funds towards an awesome PC rig, but in order to bring a little variety into it, to make it a little more entertaining, maybe I would, oh boy, I don't know what I would do.
Yeah, we got a lot of questions here. Come on.
I don't know. I can't really think of anything varied, but yeah, probably
you could take me on a really nice date.
We could absolutely go on a very expensive date, Preston, you and I together. So, I mean, we're going to have a date to that new T-Bell in your new home soon anyway, so maybe we'll use it there.
Okay. I would love to see what $1,000 of Taco Bell even looked like.
Oh, I can't even begin to fathom what it would look like. Now, I've seen what $32 worth of T-Bell looks like when the four of us went to that Taco Bell over by our apartment.
Yeah, and that's
in the glory days of living together, and that was an unforgettable experience. That was the most Taco Bell we've ever ordered at one time. And I think they got everything right, too, which is what was spectacular about that Taco Bell.
That was a great
Easily the best Taco Bell I've ever been to, forever and always. Best hours, too. They're open till like 4:30 every night. I guess at that point, you should say every morning. So, yeah, good times. So this one's a little lengthy, but it's a passionate one, so you guys stick with me on this one. It comes from Nicholas Fuller. Got to catch my breath, sorry. Oh, boy. Okay, here we go. He says, "Hey guys, I continue to listen deeper into the It's Obvious podcast archives. I've made it back to the first week of October 2016, I think. I can't recall if this question has been answered directly or not, but I think it's an important question to reiterate to some of your new listeners as your podcast continues to grow. What is the absolute best game of all time in this moment for each of you? For me, it'd have to be Halo 2. So many hours lost to that game in my youth. Probably can't count on my fingers and toes the amount of times I played through the campaign. So many secret Easter eggs and lore that kept me and my friends hooked. Not to mention all the glitches in the multiplayer. There were so many interesting ways to get out of bounds on the multiplayer levels, including the sword and rocket flight glitch. The community was so strong as well. I don't think another game has had a focused custom games the way Halo 2 did. I swear, for a period, I couldn't log in without receiving invites to custom games of popular community game types like zombies. The game is just timeless, and to me, for so many reasons, but most of all, it deserves recognition for being the breakthrough title for the console online gaming with Xbox Live. Those dames were... Not those dames. I'm losing it, boys. Those days were so good, I'd give just about anything to go back and experience it again for the first time. Guys, what is the best game of all time?
The Last of Us.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Overall, The Last of Us, but I have to say that I empathize with Nicholas's sentiments towards Halo 2. I adore Halo 2 as well. Now, I was introduced to Halo, with Halo 2. I went back and played Halo 1 later, but Halo 2, I also have countless memories. Very similar to all your experiences as well, Nicholas. Custom games especially have always been the heart and soul of Halo to me, with all my best buds on split screen playing custom Halo. Will forever be one of my favorite gaming experiences of all time. Yeah, campaign included, amazing. And I love Halo 3 as well. Halo 3 is also one of my favorite games, but Halo 2 started my love for not only shooters, really started my love for shooters. I enjoyed games like Medal of Honor and stuff on PS1 at the time. But when I played Halo 2, that really opened my eyes to what shooters could be and what they may become down the road. And Halo 2 is very special in my heart as well. I guess best game of all time, Preston and I say Last of Us. What do you say, Jacob?
Is this just what I think is the best game, to what I like? I
mean, it is
to me. Or
it is a subjective
question. What do I think
is
the best game?
Yeah. What is not your favorite? We said that earlier. What is the best?
I don't even know.
I mean, it's subjective. You could say Mario Kart is the best game ever if you wanted to.
I feel like it's the same thing as my favorite, though.
Is it? Do you think Kingdom Hearts is the best game ever made?
That's not my favorite.
Okay.
I already said my favorite earlier.
Well, you said it was. I thought you said when you were younger it was Kingdom Hearts.
Right. And then I said it was WoW.
Oh, that's right. Sorry, I forgot you reverted.
Do you even listen when I speak to you?
I do, but when you said Kingdom Hearts, it it brought up my feelings for it as well, and that's why
I think there's
a
difference. You could objectively look at a game and think that I think this is the best game ever made. I think The Last of Us is the best game ever made due to its storytelling is so good, and not only is just the story is good, but the gameplay is also freaking awesome, and it enhances the story. It also has good multiplayer mode with it as well. Like, I think in terms of just how it's made, I think it's, in my opinion, the best game. Is it my favorite game? No. I think as of during this generation, Breath of the Wild is my favorite game because I haven't played a game in years that's, kept me interested in it as long as the Breath of the Wild has, and I haven't had as fun with a game as much as I've had. You know what I'm saying? Shit. I think they're just two different,
No, I know exactly what you mean. I mean, I'm in the same boat. You can, like you said, objectively look at a game, and for this, and this reason is whether it's the best or the worst or just okay, blah, 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 blah.
I just think The Last of Us blends together storytelling and gameplay better than pretty much any game that I've played.
I would agree. And we'll see how the Last of Us Part 2 lives up to that.
And just on top of that, like I said, it has a really good multiplayer component to it as well.
It does, yeah. And totally, not only does it stand on its own, but it also complements the story as well. So, which is no easy task, I'd imagine.
See, I'm not a huge fan of the multiplayer of Last of Us, but I do agree that it's probably the best game that's come out in a long time. Mm-hmm. So, I agree with you guys. Okay, and tell us why we're wrong in the comments if you think we're wrong. And I mean that in a very sincere way. I mean, it's such a hard, I don't know. It's all opinion based, I mean, I could also make arguments that Ocarina of Time's the best game ever made as well. And that's not a very uncommon thing to say. I mean, I definitely think it is up there in the top 3 of the best games ever made. I feel you. But absolutely. But yeah. Any closing thoughts on that one, Jacob? Nope. Okay. Brendan says, "My apologies if this question is ignorant, but you guys have made reference to the fact that you're from Georgia several times, yet none of you have any discernible accent, Southern or otherwise. To my ear, you don't sound any different than people from rural Ontario, where I grew up, except for Preston dropping the old y'all. Why is this?" Well, Brendan, you see, all 3 of us have very deep Southern accents. We just hide all of them because we know that to everyone outside the South, Southern accents are disgusting. So, we mask our accents so everyone will actually like listening to us. So if we talked with our real voices all the time, everyone would hate us. What do you have to say, Jacob? Shoot. Oh, shit. Well, shit, man. Now they know. Well, me personally, I was born in Indiana. Right. So technically I'm a Yankee, I guess. That's more Midwest, but still. You dirty Yankee. But I kind of have a Southern accent, I think. It's very subtle. Do you? I try not to speak in a Southern accent. I don't know. It's not that I don't want to sound like a Southerner. It's just, I don't know. Right. My family doesn't speak that way, so that's probably why. Okay. My family grew up north as well. Yeah. So. That's what's interesting to me is that my family is ridiculously Southern. Like, I was born in Birmingham, Alabama. My grandfather was a Southern Baptist preacher. Like, my entire family has always lived in the South, and none of us talk with a Southern drawl or anything. So I have no clue. That's the thing is I don't even know anybody that lives here that really speaks Southern. Like, it's one of my coworkers is like as Southern as you can get in terms of like the way he dresses, drives a Jeep, cowboy boots, and he has no Southern accent whatsoever. So right, yeah. I don't know. It's not as, now that you think about it, it's like not as common as you would think down here, even like running into, I mean, yeah, I know some people, but it's not really that common near where I live, at least. Where you live. Yeah. I mean, even where Jacob and I live, which is at one point people would jokingly call it God's country. It was, I mean, North Georgia, very Southern here, and a lot of rednecks running around. Now, I definitely have encountered many like deep Southern accented people in my day, but not as often, like you were saying, as you'd think. Yeah. And I mean, my dad's from
New York. My mom's from Jacksonville. Now, Jacksonville, people may have an accent down there, but my mom doesn't have an accent. Now, my grandmother she was from North Carolina. She had North Carolina. Will you pass the pepper? She had that kind of accent.
Pepper.
But yeah, neither of my parents had accents.
Do you think it could have to do with we've just lived here for so long? I don't think about it. Like if I hear a Southern accent, it doesn't even cross my mind that, oh, you're in a Southern accent. I guess the accents that stick out to me are more like Northern accents, like from, you know, right. Boston or New York. Those are the ones just because I don't hear those a lot. So I might be subconsciously like so used to Southern accents that I don't even acknowledge it.
Right. Now, there are certain words that would be deemed Southern that I'm sure I use and you use from time to time. Like you mentioned, you say y'all every now and then.
Yeah.
Now, I've never been a y'all guy, not because I consciously choose not to say y'all. I've just always said you all or you guys. That's why I've never used y'all.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to think of anything else Southern, like word-wise, what we might use that we don't realize.
We drink a lot of sweet tea. That's Southern.
I was going to say we do drink a lot of
I
sweet
don't
tea.
drink that much anymore. Sweet tea.
You don't drink sweet tea a whole lot? See, neither does my girlfriend. She's kind of cut it out.
What? I mean, I don't drink it. I mean, it's a crap ton of sugar, but like, I haven't completely cut it out.
No, when we say we drink a lot of sweet tea, that's a bit of an exaggeration. We've grown up drinking a lot of sweet tea,
I used to drink a ridiculous amount of sweet tea, especially when I wasn't, holy crap!
Working out as consistently as you are now.
Exactly. I mean, my mother, who is a personal trainer, she even when she was like doing classes and stuff, she would still have one sweet tea a day.
I don't blame her, man.
That's
sweet tea
that is her thing.
The nectar of the gods.
Yeah,
it's incredible. And I think the only times I really have sweet tea nowadays are when I have barbecue.
Oh yeah, you can't have barbecue and not have sweet tea. Yeah, it's a sin.
Yeah, it is. It's not right if someone's like, I'll have barbecue and Coke. I mean, don't get me wrong, that's fine too. But sweet tea especially just amplifies any barbecue
sweet
experience.
tea, I know this might sound a little weird, but I freaking love it. When you go to like a hot plate Mexican restaurant, like Frontier or something, I have to have sweet tea when I go to like one of those restaurants. It like complements that type of Mexican food so good to me.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
I like a good Coke with lime or Sprite with that kind of Mexican food.
See, I like a soft drink with like Taco Bell or something. Like I can't drink sweet tea with Taco Bell, but if it's like Tex-Mex, that type, I have to get a sweet tea.
I feel you. Yeah, sweet tea is so wonderful and it's a great gem of the South for sure. But yeah, we don't have a good answer as to why we don't have Southern accents, but I imagine if you go anywhere in the world that's known for having a specific accent, it may be exaggerated a bit outside of that country. Yeah. Like people in Australia might have varying accents that we're not aware of, or Great Britain, or even certain Hispanic accents, perhaps. They might all be slightly different, kind of how in America, there's the Northern, the South, Midwestern, stuff like that. So it all varies. But yeah, I imagine it's good that we don't have deep Southern accents unless people enjoy listening to people with Southern accents talk video games. In that case, we can switch things up every now and then if you guys would prefer. The next one comes from Martin MC22. He says, do you guys plan on staying in Georgia permanently, or would you like to end up somewhere else? Also, what's your ideal setting? Woods, mountains, beach, etc. if you went somewhere else? What about you, Preston?
I've thought about this. For now, definitely Georgia. I'm very much like, I don't really like change that much, and I like being around my family. So I know my parents, once they retire, they kind of want to move down to the Alabama, Florida like line and get a beach house down there. So when that happens, I'm not sure what I'm gonna do, but as of now, I don't have any plans to leave the state. If I could go to any like he asked. What do you ask, like mountains or beach or something?
Or beach and all that. Your ideal setting.
Yeah, I really like the mountains. I kind of like that type of seclusion, and it's just, I don't know. I've gone on a few vacations up in a cabin up in a mountain that some of our family friends own, and it's just very relaxing up there, and I just really like that environment.
Nice. How do you feel, Jacob?
I'm also with Preston in one way, is that I don't like change. I'm a very routine guy, so I think Georgia right now is fine. But I could see myself living Well, I would pick beach out of those three. I've always loved the beach.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a great place to be. And I love the sun. Love being outside. But if I was going to live on a beach, it'd probably be in maybe the Gulf in Florida somewhere, or I could see myself in California, maybe. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, it's weird for me because I definitely will always consider Georgia home. Because that's also, well, it's funny because all of my family lives in Florida, except for my parents. But
all my family lives in Illinois. So.
Right. So I still consider Georgia my home, though, because it's where I've done all of my growing up. But I could definitely see myself outside of Georgia at some point. Not that I'm opposed to, or not that I'm like dying to stay in Georgia or anything, but I'd be fine with going somewhere else if a career or job opportunity called for that. But that's the only reason I would leave. I wouldn't leave just because I'm like, oh, I'm sick of here. I just want to go live somewhere else. I mean, if I was just going to live and I had a solid job here, then of course I would stay. But I will more than likely, I mean, it could go a multitude of ways when I wrap up school, but I could end up anywhere else for all I know. But ideal setting, my mood changes a lot. Now, normally I am a mountains guy as well. I loved when we went on those church camps to Sharp Top Cove up in the mountains. That was just amazing. Yeah. And I've always dreamed of, I think we've mentioned this a couple of weeks ago on the podcast, I guess you can call him Logan, but Wolverine's house in X-Men Origins Wolverine, where he's up in the mountains secluded by himself. That's my dream home. Yeah. I would love that so much.
I also really like the mountains. Mountains are really nice.
But it depends on my mood, because every now and then I'll either be at a beach house or just on the beach in general, and I do love that environment, just the sunshine and everyone's happy. And, well, usually, unless drunk guys are in a fight on the beach or something, or seagulls are attacking each other over a piece of bread. But I love, now, don't get me wrong, I hate sand. It's rough, it's coarse, and it gets everywhere. But I do like building the occasional sandcastle. And I like going ankle deep in the ocean because I'm terrified of it. Now, I've been neck deep in the ocean, and I've had a massive, I'm talking, yeah, remember, a tiny stingray killed Steve Irwin. I had a massive stingray swim right past me in a wave when I was neck deep in the ocean, and I will never forget that as long as I live. It scared me to death. So I'm a little terrified of the ocean. Now, I'd love to go deep sea fishing as well. I'm not afraid to go out in a boat in the ocean, but last thing I'd ever want. Have you ever seen open water?
Yes.
That is one of the most horrifying concepts I've ever heard of in my life. That's the last thing I want to experience. But the happy side of the beach I love. I'd love a beach house in the summers and a mountain house every other time of year. That's how I'd like to live.
So. Here's a little wild card. I wouldn't mind living in the state of Washington.
Okay.
Because it rains a lot there, and I like the rain.
See, I like the rain. See, this rain earlier when it was pouring and I was just doing some notes, I was like, man, I really love when I'm, especially when I play games and it's pouring rain outside. Peaceful. I love that too. I love when it rains in Persona 5 as well. I don't know why. Just being in a city when it's raining or anywhere when it's raining is nice.
See, I don't like the city when it rains. It just feels weird.
And there's a certain smell that arises when it rains in the city. It feels very greasy and humid.
Well, when it rains here, it smells like wet dogs.
It kind of does, yeah. Yeah. But, yeah, I don't know. We'll see how it goes in a few years. I'll probably know where I may end up. But, I mean, best case scenario, I get to stay in Georgia because that's where, like, my family is and all as well, so. We'll see.
So what if our channel did blow up? Would we stay in Georgia? You know, if we made this, a living.
It depends on.
Or would we move somewhere like, California, where a lot of video game developers are?
Right. It depends on different opportunities and what makes the most sense for that. Because it does seem like a lot of the big dogs are out there in California, just because they're all kind of sort of connected and with not necessarily really close together, but if you're in the same state, a lot of more collaboration happens and all kinds of stuff. So we don't know what the future looks like for us as a gaming channel per se. I mean, we have massive dreams for this. We're not going to just start something and be like, oh, we'll just see how it goes. I mean, we have big dreams for this. We want it to be as big as possible. So we'll see how it goes as we continue on. But I don't know where we'll end up. We'll see. But Preston, let's say a miracle happens. It's Obvious Gaming blows up, and we have the opportunity and a reason to move elsewhere. Would you be opposed to that?
No.
Okay. We could all live together again. We could bathe together. We could eat together.
Well, I don't know if I could do that.
You couldn't bathe with me?
Well, I could bathe with you, yeah. I don't know about living with y'all.
Okay. Oh, that's true. You're probably going to be in a different situation when that time comes, if that time ever comes. So I don't know how Jacob and I will be relationally. I mean, of course, we'll probably end up together because that's what makes the most sense to me. So
yeah.
No, but yeah, we'll see how it goes down the road. But ideal setting, mountains in the winter and fall, and even spring. Summers at the beach. Yeah.
Well, when you think
wouldn't
about
it be the opposite?
I don't know if we necessarily would need to go to California. I mean, there's very successful places like Rooster Teeth and stuff which operate out of Texas.
Right. I was thinking that in Atlanta's a very growing, it's a growing city as far as entertainment's concerned. And what we do, you don't really have to live a certain place.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, there are developers in Chicago, New York. I mean, Minnesota.
I mean,
they're everywhere.
would we be going to? I don't know if we'd be going to
not really developers
yeah.
or game companies, but specifically whether it be media or other people that do what we do. I don't even know what you call what we do.
Personalities.
I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Seems like most of them are.
We're
on
just
the West
we're
Coast.
just idiots with microphones. That's what we are.
Exactly. That's the best way of putting it. 3 idiots with microphones. The next one comes from, where am I? G4 King Rob. He says, what were your first game systems? What games were the most nostalgic for each of you personally? I think we've said this a lot. My first game system was Super Nintendo. Most nostalgic, Super Mario World and Donkey Kong Country. What about you guys?
SNES, Spider-Man and X-Men, Arcade's Revenge. That's the first game I ever owned and played. It's very nostalgic, very bad game. But
yeah, that was also the first game I ever played as well. So I never beat the first level because I didn't understand it.
I could beat the first level. You beat the first level of Spider-Man collecting these blue ball things, and then it would open up a stage select screen where you could play as Wolverine, Cyclops, Storm, and Gambit, and Spider-Man again. And I could never beat the stage that, like, when you would pick whoever you would pick, that stage it would go to. I could never beat it for any of them. I remember Storm, it was like an underwater level, and that used to freak me out, so I never played that one. And then all the other ones were just like so much harder than the first level. I could never do anything.
Okay, that's cool. What about you, Jacob?
First game system was the PC. Played this Batman side-scrolling fighter game.
Was it Batman Forever?
Maybe, I don't know.
Was that on PC?
I don't know.
I
played
on
some
Super
Batman
Nintendo.
game on PC.
The one you're thinking of, no, it was only on SNES.
That was just Super Nintendo, right? Okay.
And I played this Hot Wheels game, which me and you have talked about before, Garrett. That Hot Wheels game.
That game is so awesome. That Hot Wheels racing game.
Yeah, I think those were like the very first games I played, but I used to play my grandma's NES. We played the original Mario.
Mm-hmm. Your grandma played the NES?
Yeah.
Just
my
your grandma.
mom grew up playing that. And,
I mean, Preston's mom played a lot of Mario too.
Yeah.
My
grandma
mom
used to
played.
She was good.
My mom played Dr. Mario. She played the crap out of Dr. Mario. She played Castlevania too. The original Castlevania on NES. She was a big fan of. So, well, she grew up with my uncle, who, as of now, is like a massive gamer. So, she grew up in a household with, there was always a gaming console. So.
That's awesome. Yeah. Aside from my dad playing Pong when he was growing up, neither one of my parents ever played video games. So I have to thank my mom's cousin for giving me his SNES when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I would probably not be playing games today.
My first handheld was the Game Boy Color, and my first console that I owned was the N64.
I told you guys that when I got my Game Boy Color, I bought a yellow one because my buddy in elementary school had a yellow one, so I thought I also had to have a yellow one.
So you have a history of copying your friends.
Yeah, because I thought
you
like
thought that it was cool.
Yeah, no, I didn't even think it was cool. I just thought, like, how am I supposed to have that exact same experience if I don't do what they did? I was afraid I wouldn't have as much fun for some reason.
Oh,
like,
dude.
like I said,
I was lucky with the Game Boys due to my dad being a administrator in the school system. He would confiscate Game Boys, dude. We have a drawer in one of our spare bedrooms with like 4 Game Boy Advances and like Game Boy Colors and just like random games. Like I have some Lord of the Rings game, like a Barbie game, just like random games that they had.
It's so funny they just took them away and didn't give them back.
Yeah, why couldn't they get them back? Would they just forget or something?
Yeah, the parents would never come pick them up. So it was like at the end of the year or semester, he just took them home. So
that is awesome.
It's money down the drain.
Yeah. That's great. Yeah, but I was stuck with a banana colored Game Boy Color, and I never really liked
mine
the
was
color.
the see-through purple, kind of like the
I had that
Nintendo,
too.
The
I had that.
64 controller.
I wanted a red one, and my mom asked me several times. I got it at a Target. I remember they had a whole wall of the different colors. And my mom was like, "What color do you want?" I was like, "Yellow." And she was like, "Yellow?" She's like, "You don't like yellow anything." She's like, "You sure you don't want a different color?" I was like, "Yeah, yellow." And she's like, "Are you sure?" She asked me like 5 times. She's like, "All right, I guess we'll get the yellow one." I was never truly satisfied with that color, but I said before when I did Animal Crossing, I named my town Portland because my friend's town was named Portland. I'm like, I'm not going to have the same fruit or anything if I don't name it Portland. And in my defense, they had pears in their town, and I also had pears. And I was convinced it's because I named my town Portland. So now, one change I did make to that title, theirs was lowercase Portland. That always drove me insane. So I capitalized the P in my Portland. Therefore, my town was superior to their Portland. But yeah, good times. I don't even remember what the question was. Yeah, first game systems and most nostalgic for us personally. Thank you, Rob. The next one comes from Jared B. He says, okay, guys, bit of an ethical gray area. I was one of the people that went to the midnight Nintendo Switch release. I went with a friend and bought one for myself. When I got back, I had a few people ask me why I didn't buy an extra one and sell it for $500 on eBay. My view is that as a gamer, I should respect the other gamers who waited in line behind me instead of taking an extra console, hence taking that experience from someone else. How do you feel about doing things of this nature?
I personally, I agree with that mindset. Purely because I'm a gamer. I think a lot of people that do the scalping aren't even gamers. They're just doing it. And that's the thing is like, it sucks. I mean, I understand why they do it because you can make pretty good money. So I guess the only way to combat scalpers is to not give them a reason to scalp and just don't buy it at like an insane price. Like, yeah. So if you complain about a Switch being like $800 but bought one anyways, like you're contributing to that problem.
Yeah, I agree. Like I said, when I acquired my PS4 at midnight on launch day, I was one of 4 guys, and 3 of them were there to scalp, and all 3 of them were just talking about how much money they were going to make off it.
I always
was just
remember
looking forward to having it.
In 8th grade, my teacher, Mr. Thomas, it was launch night of the PS3, and him and another teacher of mine were going to a Target to camp out that night to get a PS3. And I remember going to ask him, like, wow, like, you play games? He's like, no, I'm just going to turn around and sell it for a decent chunk of change. So that was the first I even, like, heard about something like that. So, from what I've seen, just exactly like you said, Garrett, when you were getting your PS4, none of those guys played games. My teacher didn't play games. I think if you're a gamer, for the most part, I'm not going to say that no gamer ever has scalped, but I think for the most part, we kind of have that mindset of let's leave one for the guy that's really going to use this. So, right,
yeah, I would never. None of us would ever say like, oh, they shouldn't be allowed to do that. Like, they have every right to do so. We're just like, oh, that kind of sucks for other people don't want one.
I mean, some stores are cracking down on it because you could only buy one. If you're there in person, like when we went to go buy the Nuka-Cola Quantums, for instance, they only sold us one. We weren't allowed to buy as many as we wanted to, so we could scalp them. So stores are trying to combat that, but if you're online, you can just make another account. Like, it's pretty easy to get around that, or pay with 2 different cards or something.
Totally. Yeah, but I can't think of a word. I don't want to say none, because I can't say neither because there's more than 2 of us. But the 3 of us have never engaged in scalping, and I have encountered plenty of people who do so. And I'll never forget the guy who was scalping a PS4 that night. He's from Boston. He said to me repeatedly, probably 50 times, "Hey man, never get married. Never get married. I've divorced 3 times. Never get married. I'm gonna sell this PS4 for $2,000." And that was basically all I heard all night. So, the lesson learned: don't scalp and never get married, according to this gentleman from Boston.
Especially not 3 times.
Absolutely, yeah. Especially not 3 times.
So you'll be saying the same thing.
Yeah, I'm not naming names here, but I had an ex-girlfriend who her mother had 3 or 4 daughters, all with different fathers, and she had married all of them at one point. I'm like, that's a world record right there. I'm impressed.
That's a world record.
Yeah. So the next one comes from Harley. She says, "What are your guys' birthdays?" Who wants to go first? Because I'm not looking forward to sharing this. Not that it really matters, because it won't be posted anywhere.
January 4th.
On the actual day. What was that, Preston? January 4th?
January 4th, 93 is my birthday. Okay.
What about you, Jacob?
Mine is July 27th, 1992.
You're going to be the big 25 this summer, aren't you?
Yep.
My birthday is May 18th, 1993. I will be 24 on the 18th here in a few weeks. So, whatever, I guess. I made it through 23. No one likes you when you're 23, and I found that to be very true. Not always, but more often than not, no one likes you when you're 23.
You're still 23.
I am.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Hilarious.
I'm going to be 25 this January, and the thought of me being 25 just makes me want to jump out of my window. Like, how did it come
insurance
this
is about
fast?
to go down.
Yeah,
It's about to go down?
Yeah, 25.
Oh, it does?
Yep.
That's
nice.
cool.
That's nice. Yeah, I wanted to spice this question up a bit, boys. What is your most memorable birthday or birthdays? Like birthday, either just the day itself or like a party you had when you were a kid.
I guess when I got my tattoo, that's memorable.
Okay, that's good you say that because we have a tattoo question coming up.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. I had a lot of memorable birthday parties when I was a kid. I mean, many of them were spent with you, Preston. I recall getting a bunch of Spider-Man action figures from the original 2001 Spider-Man movie and playing with those. You, me, and a couple other buddies played with those action figures. I'll never forget your birthday you had, the first time you and I had a slumber party at your house, and we got in a pillow fight with your buddies, and they told us ghost stories, and we got scared and read the Bible because we were so scared. I remember that birthday party. I remember one at the park. We all had Kool-Aid, those little squeezy Kool-Aid plastic bottles with a twist-off top. I used to love those things. I think they're gross now. But
I have so many memories of eating those popsicles. You know, the rainbow ones that came in those long sticks. You had to rip it off the top and just push the,
those are some of my
So
favorite
good.
summer memories with those popsicles. But
I had like 10 of those a day back in the day.
Nice.
I ate
nice.
so many.
I've never had a surprise birthday party. Have you guys had a surprise birthday party?
Nope.
Yeah, no one loves us that much, I guess.
I guess.
I don't know.
I wouldn't be too happy about it nowadays if that were the case.
Yeah, I don't think I've had one.
So,
I did have an awesome, I don't remember if it was 7th or 8th grade birthday party, but so I was at school and I made invitations, and I invited like 20 girls and like 3 guys.
wow, that is awesome.
All 3 guys showed up, like 15 girls showed up.
No way. Where was this?
This is in my neighborhood pool.
When was this?
This is in middle school.
Man, see, you were
I probably didn't know you.
popular in middle school. You were a
I was,
popular
yeah.
kid.
Yeah,
I was not.
But all these girls showed up, and you know it was fun. We were playing on the pool and stuff.
Wow.
And then later on during the night, for whatever reason, I was in my backyard in the woods. I think we might have been playing Manhunt or something.
Okay.
As you did back in the day.
Yeah.
In the dark with females.
Yes, of course. That's the only reason you're playing.
Right. And me and this girl that I had a crush on at the time snuck behind my house, and that was like my first kiss.
Okay.
Well, it was like my second kiss.
Nice.
But it was awesome.
That's great. That's a great memory. I have countless memories like that as well. But Manhunt was always a great opportunity to get to know a female a little better.
Yeah.
So, what about you, Preston? You have any Manhunt memories with females?
Manhunt memories? No, I've never played Manhunt ever. No.
It's a really fun game. I used to love it. And it was kind of did you like the tag version? Like if they spot you, they chase you down and tag you until you're out. Yeah,
I think fun. I don't remember.
Yeah, me and a girl would go hide for like 30 minutes at a time. People would be like, "Where the hell were you?" We're like, "We're just really good at hiding. You couldn't find us. You walked past us like 4 times, and they were nowhere near us. We like ran to the other side of the neighborhood, so we're like deep into the forest. So good times." But what was the question again? I keep forgetting all the questions when we go off on these tangents.
It was the birthdays.
Birthdays, yeah. So, I mean, again, stories as far as birthdays are concerned, or when memories are sparked in my mind. Nothing's really sparking right now, but I know there's something out there on a birthday that's very memorable. I just can't remember it right now. Next one comes from Lewis T. He says, "I'm sure you guys heard that GameStop is closing many stores, and sadly enough, the one by my house is one of them. Do you think the rise of digital purchases is really the cause of the closing of the stores? Also, a friend of mine who knows a friend that works at Gearbox in the Dallas area said we might see gameplay of Borderlands 3 at E3. Do you guys think this will happen?"
Well, I did a little bit of research into the GameStop thing.
Okay.
So I found on 2 different publications, the Denver Post and USA Today, they both said that it does have to do to rising digital sales cost. They're still doing fine though. Their profits are lowering, but they still are making, good money. They're hoping on the Switch to have a Wii-like success to get some more revenue, and also the Scorpio as well. I think that's how they make a majority of their money, is definitely on consoles. Yeah, because you have to go to a store. You can't digitally download a Switch.
Yeah.
Yet we might get 3D printers in the future where you can do that. That'd be pretty interesting. But
I can see that.
Upon researching this stuff, I also saw they have like these collectible shops. They teamed up with ThinkGeek, and they're like these shops that sell like nerdy collectibles and stuff, and the profits are surprising them. They're doing very well. They said by 2019 the profits for those stores could be around $1 billion.
Well, I mean, most of those figures are pretty overpriced though at retail, aren't they? Unless you like order them somewhere, because you've mentioned to me like in a comic store, for example.
Yeah,
I've been in,
I don't necessarily.
The same figure you ordered was significantly more expensive at the store versus online.
Yeah, I'm not sure with ThinkGeek. I mean, I have something from ThinkGeek. I have like a Zelda picture from there.
Isn't ThinkGeek a lot like Hot Topic, like the same kind of stuff? You know,
I don't think so. I mean, it's the stuff that I've gotten from there has been like socks or, like I said, a holographic like picture frame. It's like when you go to your GameStop rewards on like the app and trade in your points for physical merchandise. All that stuff I'm pretty sure is like from ThinkGeek.
Well, that's kind of what I meant. Just like, you know, it's a bunch of random crap.
Yeah.
Not particularly like the t-shirts.
Yeah, it's just like they literally say it's just nerdy collectibles and gadgets.
Yeah.
I've never seen one of those stores before. But apparently they're opening up some more. There's also like a technology store that they have also. So they're kind of like closing down some GameStops. I think it was like 125. I think that was the number. But they're opening up these other stores that are doing well. So, yeah, I don't think they're... I don't know. I've heard people speculating that GameStop's going to eventually like crumble. I don't think that's anytime soon. Digital sales are rising, but it's still, you know, predominantly people buy physical. And we've talked about physical versus digital, but I hope physical never goes away because I love physical a lot. Yeah, I'm getting my Prey Steelbook edition in the mail tomorrow. And that's just way more exciting to me than just like, well, I'm downloading Prey. You know,
totally.
So
the only bad thing about physical, in my opinion, is the drive home before you can play.
Yeah, because you want to play it so bad.
Especially like for Destiny 2, for example. Like people are gonna be jumping on like right at midnight or whenever it's gonna be, and I'm gonna have to drive home like 20 minutes and then have to download it, which isn't that fast on the PS4. But still. Well,
that's why I like having it mailed to you because it's like kind of halfway. At least you don't have to drive out there and get it. You're just it just arrives.
I kind of enjoy the trip. I get really excited about it.
It's fun going.
Oh, dude, when we went,
game, you're like, God, I gotta get home.
Garrett, when me and you went to go pick up The Last of Us, I'll never forget that trip. Just the drive there, we were so freaking hyped. And then we got Taco Bell on the way home, and we just like ate it, just like staring at our boxes on the kitchen table we had, or the living room table we had.
Yeah, I'll never forget that for two reasons. One, that the picture of my Taco Bell meal and the box for Last of Us, there's a picture of it on my Instagram because I never wanted to forget that moment because we were so pumped. But that's what the beauty of Instagram, because some people misuse Instagram and just post really pointless crap on there, but their slogan originally was a way to capture memories. And I mean, I guess you could say this is some stupid thing you did as a memory, but that was truly a memory I captured. I'm glad I can reflect upon it. But I recall playing through I'm not going to spoil it for those who haven't played it, but the initial portion of that game at the very beginning, and you just bursting into our room because you were playing down the hall, and you literally had tears in your eyes, and you're like, holy crap, dude. I was like, don't tell me. And that in itself kind of spoiled it for me because I was so upset. But I mean, obviously I didn't truly know what was going to happen, but that emotional impact that occurs right at the beginning of that game did hit me as well.
Yeah.
So it was a great day. I'll never forget it.
I didn't play that game almost a year later.
Hey, better late than never. You could play The Last of Us 20 years from now, and I feel like it'll still have the same impact on people.
I shouldn't say almost a year. It was over a year after it came out before I played it.
That's right. Did you play it on PS4 first?
Yeah, I never owned a PS3.
It's all right. But
it's all right.
It's okay. I mean, you still played it. I mean, I encourage everyone to play Last of Us if you haven't played it yet. It's so good. And then lastly, he wants to know if we think that what are the chances of seeing Borderlands at E3 this year? Gameplay, at least. Now, I don't know if we'll see gameplay. I've seen a tech demo from Borderlands, what they kind of want to implement into it.
Yeah.
But I think we will definitely see a trailer of some sort, but I don't know if we'll see gameplay or not.
Oh, no.
I think we'll definitely see a trailer.
We need to see something because everybody has a bad taste in their mouth with
Gearbox.
With them after
Battleborn.
Yeah.
I don't know, guys. I really want
Battleborn, the Overwatch killer.
The hit $5 game at Five Below you can find.
Right.
That's so sad.
That is sad, man. Because I bet it really isn't that bad. It just came out at the worst
when we played
time.
the beta, like, it wasn't bad.
No, it wasn't bad at all.
It just came out at the worst time of all time. Literally the worst time for that game ever, right behind Overwatch. Overwatch even, like, I think released the beta on the same day Battleborn released. So nobody gave a crap about Battleborn. And the marketing for Battleborn was awful. Nobody knew what the hell that game was. Like,
I still don't even know what it is.
Yeah, especially the first couple of trailers. Like, I remember seeing the Game Informer issue where it was on the cover, and I like was reading all this stuff, and I saw it was like a first-person shooter MOBA, but I personally didn't even know what MOBAs were at the time I heard this game, so I was so confused what it was. The only type of excitement I had whatsoever for it was because it was from the guys that made Borderlands. But then I was just thinking, like, why are you doing this? Just make Borderlands 3. That's all anybody wants from you guys, really.
Yep. Yeah, I think we'll at least see a trailer. We'll see. But yeah, it is a shame, poor Battleborn. So hopefully, I imagine, if Borderlands 3 comes, it's going to be a success regardless. So I think they'll be all right. But we'll see.
We'll see.
Wide Eyes says, I see that Garrett has some tattoos. What are they, and do you have plans to get more? Also, what would be some cool video game tattoos you would want? I think some of the emblems from Destiny would be awesome as tattoos. And Preston, you have a tattoo as well. You want to tell us about it?
Yeah, I have this tattoo, which is the Devil Wears Prada logo. It's my favorite band. They were a good impact on my life, which is why I have the tattoo. If some random person comes up and asks me what it is, I just say it's the Holy Trinity, just so I don't have to go into a long story of like, oh, this is a band they're a Christian band, and that's the reason why I have.
They're a Christian band with devil in the title.
Yeah, exactly. That always, I get a confusing look every time I say that. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, I do want more tattoos. It all comes down to my finances. I definitely, I don't know. It's just like I don't want one bad enough to put a hold on like buying games and stuff, if that makes sense. I do have a lot of ideas for other ones though.
What are some of your ideas?
There's some verses I'd like.
Okay.
I have some like typed out and stuff and cool handwriting. Personally, I really would only want tattoos that, are meaningful to me.
I feel you. I feel like that's not all, because I definitely know people who just put tattoos on their body just because they can.
Yeah, that's fine. It's just me personally. I have to have something like really memorable to me.
Yeah, I'm the same. It has to have some sort of significant meaning to me.
Yeah.
But I have a multitude of tattoos. Most you can't see, but I think I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 5 total right now. And most of them are small. I guess I'll start with my first one was on my back. It is the Bible verse Proverbs chapter 3, verses 5 and 6. It says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make your path straight." And that's a very common verse, but and it's meaningful to a lot of people, but me especially that time in my life when I got it. I needed that for sure. And I found that to be true every day of my life. And I got it in the original Hebrew text, which I've gotten a lot of jokes over time. I mean, it looks cool, but I get a lot of jokes, especially from one of my friends saying that some Arab man drugged me and carved some evil curse on my back in Arab. But I have that in original Hebrew on my right shoulder blade on my back. My second tattoo, which is my most meaningful tattoo, is my Forgiven tattoo, because that stands true. That just a reminder that in Christ, I have been, will be, and always will be, or have been, I am, and will be forgiven for every sin in my life. And that's all inevitable, just being a human being. But especially when I got this one, I was very distraught with some decisions I had made in my life. Not that they really affected anyone else but myself, but I was just upset with who I was as a person, the decisions I'd made. But I knew that I have the ability to be forgiven, and that's just a constant reminder. So that's why it's the most meaningful for me. And then I have the Anchor, which is actually probably one of the better tattoos I have, not necessarily the way it looks or anything, just because everyone always notices the Anchor tattoo, and they always ask me what it stands for, and that's why I got it instead of just getting it. It also stands for another verse. It stands for Hebrew 6:19, which states, "We have this anchor for the soul, firm and secure, and we have this hope as an anchor for the soul." And I got the Anchor because I wanted something symbolic versus just more text, because I have mostly text on my body. I don't want to just be like a walking script. But so I got the Anchor, and everyone always asks about that and gives me the opportunity to share a little bit about myself and my faith and everything. But I also have this little, what most people like to call a dagger on my ring finger. It's my girlfriend and I found out about this apprentice at a very prestigious tattoo shop who, according to the internet, was very good at what he does. He's an apprentice. But he was doing $25 tattoos. We're like, wow, that's a steal. We'll just go get really small tattoos for fun for $25. So we went, and my poor girlfriend got these designs on her fingertips that when he first did them looked really cool, but he did them incorrectly, and they all kind of blotched, and they look terrible now. Not to say my girlfriend her hands look terrible, but I mean, she recognizes the guy did a terrible job. She's got to either get them repaired or removed. So it's kind of a crappy situation. Thankfully, I only got a tiny little cross, but the way he did it, it looks like a little sword or something. And whenever I ask as a joke, I ask people, like, what does this look like to you? They're like, a sword or a dagger? Every now and then someone will say it looks like a cross, but to me, it's a cross. So I got that. And lastly, I wouldn't say I regret this tattoo, but it's probably, in my mind, the most pointless because I put the least amount of thought into it. But I have a tattoo in cursive across my ribs on my left side that says, did your phone just go off again?
No.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if we had to fix your video or not.
Oh, no. Should be good.
Across my ribs, it says Foundation. It's from specifically from a For Today song called Foundation. It's a Christian metal band. But just another reminder that Christ is the foundation of my life type situation. But I got that one because my sister, on a whim, was like, I want to get a tattoo with you so bad. Let's go get tattoos, blah, blah. And she harassed me for 2 weeks about it. And finally was like, all right, whatever. I'll go get a tattoo with you. She got something else, but I got Foundation. And I mean, it's fine, but I always forget I have it. Whenever I see it, I'm like, crap, I forgot I have that. So those are all my tattoos. Sure, I've had ideas for other tattoos. It just ultimately depends on what I'm going to end up doing for a living and finances as well. Now, I had my window to get as many tattoos as I wanted when I was working with you, Preston, because we were making so much money that I didn't know what to do with myself. But I should have, if I wanted tattoos, I should have invested money into them then, because now I won't have any time or money to get tattoos anytime soon. But I have various ideas as well that I may or may not add to myself at some point in life. My video game related tattoos, Preston, would you ever get a video game related tattoo?
No.
Yeah, I don't think I would either.
If I ever did, though, I'd get something Zelda related. Maybe like the Triforce with the wings behind it or something.
Right, yeah. I've always thought, because video game tattoos are so cool, and whenever people have them, I think they look awesome. But it's just me personally, like all mine are faith-based. I kind of want mine all to have personal faith-based reasons to me. But
video game you don't want the Roadhog belly tattoo?
I've thought about it. Believe me. Just get Tracer down my back. That'd be sweet. So have her lightning bolt starting from like my neck all the way down to my leg.
Or you get a Mario mushroom on your ass.
I would like that. That wouldn't be too bad. Yeah, I mean, there's countless video game tattoos that I think would be cool. I mean, of course, I'd love a Batman tattoo, but I probably won't do that either. But
I'd get a It's Obvious Gaming tattoo if we ever.
We have stated this now. If when we hit, it was 1 million, right? I think it was 1 million subscribers.
Sure, I think 1 million is good.
Did we agree to this?
No, we did. Yeah, we said big if there. If we hit 1 million subscribers, we will all together. We'll even do a vlog of it. All go get ass tattoos of the
I'm not
ItsOG
getting a
logo.
tattoo on my ass.
Did we say ass?
Yeah, we said ass.
I can't do that. I take it back.
I will put that on my butt.
I will get an It's Obvious tattoo, not on my butt though.
Okay,
I'll get a what's the one on your?
I thought we all agreed to this on the podcast months ago.
I'll get a tramp stamp.
A tramp stamp of ItsOG? I feel like that's worse than the butt tattoo.
That's the thing, though.
Yeah, it is.
I don't know why I would have agreed to that. I can't get something on my ass.
Dude, I will. I mean, why would you not? No one's going to see it except for your
What's the point of getting it if no one's going to see it?
I want to see it. That's one thing about tattoos is I like being able to see them. Like I want to be able to see it. I think that's
what's funny about it, though. It's just because it's on your butt.
It's just a waste of money if you're just getting it so no one sees it.
I mean, I don't necessarily always get tattoos for people.
I'll get it on my thigh. I'll get it on my thigh.
Okay.
I'd get it on like my back, maybe.
I think it'd be a decent forearm tattoo.
Maybe.
But I don't know. I'll be the one that gets it on my ass, everyone. So don't worry. I'll be the one that does that. I'll take one for the team.
All right. I'll put it on my thigh. Next one, that's a good place.
Yeah. Okay. The next one comes from Eco Spick. He says, "What are your favorite games and best memories from your time with gaming?" That's similar to some of the other ones on this episode. But favorite games, we've said a ton of times. I think we've said our favorite games enough on this podcast. But favorite memories for me: Halo 2 and 3, Gears 1. Last of Us, Uncharted 4 especially. I mean, I love the other Uncharted as well. Love Kingdom Hearts. Just memories in general. I just loved waking up on a summer day and going to the pool. Or just waking up playing a game and then going to the pool and then coming back and playing more games all day and all night long. Just summers in between my middle school years were some of the best summers ever for video games for me.
I'll say the Christmas I got Fallout 3 and had no expectations for it whatsoever, because purely the only reason I even asked for Fallout 3 that Christmas was because, Garrett, you did.
Right.
So I was like, I might as well do it too. I didn't know literally anything about it, and just diving into that game about 2 hours in, it freaking blew my mind. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I totally forgot about that one.
Yeah, I had to go to my grandmother's house in Alabama for like 2 days, and those were like the longest, most boring 2 days of my entire life, knowing that I had Fallout 3 at home, and I had to just like sit in this old woman's house and do nothing.
It's funny because I went out of town to my grandma's house just a few days after you went to your grandma's, and by the time I was gone, you were back home, and I had dabbled in Fallout, and I started playing Far Cry. And I was like, oh, yeah. I think I like Far Cry more. But when I was at my grandma's, you called me and started describing to you the experiences you were having in Fallout 3, and it blew my mind. And that's when I got to the point where I was dying to get home and play Fallout after that. And that's where our love for the Fallout series began. Yeah. So I'll never forget that either. What about you, Jacob?
So favorite memories? I wrote down a few.
Okay.
All my many nights blowing off my friends to raid and WoW.
Yeah, I'll never forget that. Yeah. You did it in secret for a long time.
Oh yeah, I always lied to everyone and said I was doing something else, or I just wouldn't answer my phone, which I still don't do today, but I call it back. The first time I beat Ansem in Kingdom Hearts, the original Kingdom Hearts, that fight was so hard back then because I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah,
I was just spamming buttons all left and right, you know.
Yeah,
but somehow I got it done. And fun fact, there were no checkpoints in the fight back in the day, so you had to beat him like all the way. There were, I think there's 3 or 4 phases in that fight, which is a pain because it took me a few tries even now in the remastered version. But luckily, I had checkpoints.
So they have checkpoints now.
Yeah.
Oh, that's bogus, man. Yeah, as kids, the OG style. Same thing for me. I told you, me and my buddy literally celebrated and jumped on my bed when I beat him because it was miraculous that we did so.
Yeah, I just remember being really excited. In my old neighborhood when I was growing up, I had 2 friends that we played a ton of Pokemon together, and we always just used to go into their basement and just play Pokemon on our Game Boys all day long. I just have really vivid memories of playing that, and it was really fun. And same thing with Smash and Mario Kart. That's how I got really good at them, because we played them every day. And I own the console, so that's why I was always better than everyone else.
Yeah, you were very good at Mario Kart 64.
And then, of course, with our group of friends now, just playing FIFA all the time and stuff, especially on the projector at our good friend Evan's house. Very fun times.
Yeah, great times indeed. And a shout out to our time playing Pokemon Go, running around the city and stuff. That was a lot of fun.
That was fun for what it was.
And our Diablo days were a lot of fun too.
Oh yeah, I forgot to mention the Diablo. I'll never forget just sitting at that table, just with our computers, our crappy computers.
Just grinding away up on the lowest settings. Good times. Any more memories from you, Preston?
The Diablo's a big one too. I think Modern Warfare 2, that was the longest day of school I ever had, and just I hitched a ride with one of my friends. I wasn't driving at that point, and he like sped me home as fast as possible so he could get back to his house so we could hop on together.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
very cool. Well, lastly, boys, that brings us to the final question. This comes from Hawk 2001. He says, any funny high school stories? Now, let me begin by saying, Jacob's going to spark some for us here in a moment, but we have so many funny high school stories. We could do an entire episode dedicated to high school stories.
Oh, crap. But, I literally have none, so I'll just leave it to you guys. Because I essentially went to sleep in high school. And all the friends that I had in high school, pretty much everything we did involved either drugs or alcohol, and I just never was into that stuff. So, and I grew up with Garrett. We went to different high schools, so pretty much on the weekends I'd just go hang out with Garrett and Zach and Jacob. So during the week with high school, I was just the most generic student of all time. I did my work and would take naps on my desk when nothing else was going on. So that's all the crazy things that happened to me in high school. So
great high school memories for sure.
Oh yeah, I'll be right back. Anyways, I have to go take a leak. I'll be right back.
Okay, enjoy. Jacob, what do you got for us?
I got a few that I remember just in the moment when you gave me the notes.
Yeah.
I think my best story / memory in high school was the tale of Mrs. Howarth.
Yeah, that's just a shame. Like, we should definitely mention it, but we need to have Zach.
Yeah, that's a
on the
story
podcast
saved
to
better
tell it.
for when Zach's here, because he was with me in that class, and my good buddy Evan. But a brief summary, we literally did anything we wanted. We destroyed property in the room. We...
To clarify,
we let food rot in drawers.
Their teacher was
the
so
teacher was
old.
so oblivious and old that
Yeah.
she didn't know that we were doing these things.
Mhm.
It's an absolute train wreck.
Yeah.
Just thinking about it.
Uh-huh.
And we eventually got in trouble for it because eventually she got fired.
Yeah, you got her fired because you were so out of
Her
control.
students got her fired.
Yeah, I mean, they would do things, and I really want Zach to tell the story because it is so much funnier.
He
when
tells it so much better than I do.
He does, but just one example is she would be so old that she'd be passing out quizzes for everyone to take, and they would just crumple it up and throw it across the room.
They'd shoot it in hoops, and they'd say they didn't get one.
Yeah, they'd be like,
do
"Oh,
the same
Mrs.
thing.
Howarth, you didn't give us a quiz." And she's like, "Oh, I'm sorry."
Like, what?
Yeah, and she'd hand them a new one, and then 2 minutes later they'd do the same thing. Miss Howarth, where is our quiz? And they just do that over and over again.
I mean, eventually she would catch on, but I don't think she cared enough to do anything about it. She just kept giving them papers.
Yeah. You said you didn't like break a desk in half or something like that.
I don't want to spoil all the stories.
Right?
but-
Yeah, we'll save it for
So
Zach.
every day we sat on these like all
like
the
those
science. Yeah, they were like
tables.
cheap. They weren't really cheap. They were like wooden tables, you know.
Yeah.
But every day we would grab a pair of scissors.
Mhm.
We'd keep it. We wouldn't like undo them. You know, it'd be straight. Someone would be holding the scissors by the rubber,
Yeah.
and I would always be. I had a textbook.
Yeah.
Every day we hold it in the center of the table, and I slam the textbook on the scissors so it'd go a little bit into the table every day. And one day, the hole went through the table, so there was a giant hole in the table. And then another day, you know, this is kind of the reason why she got in trouble. This is like how it started the domino effect. One day, this other class clown in the class, he just he came and sat on the table.
Yeah.
And the table snapped.
Yeah. Snapped in half.
He fell through the table, and then he got in trouble for it because he broke the table.
Yeah.
And he had to go to the principal's office.
Man, I mean, I cannot wait till Zach tells the story because that is one of the funniest things.
That's just
I've
one
ever
of the
heard.
stories.
Yeah, I mean, they have countless. I mean, all year long. This
We
went on.
shot Whopper. Like, you know, I don't know if science classrooms all around the country are like this, but we had really high-powered sinks in the classroom, and we stuck Whoppers in the faucets. Then we turned the sink on really
You
high.
mean explain what a Whopper is?
You know what a Whopper is, right?
We're not talking about the burger anymore.
Oh, no, right. It's the chocolate candy, the little balls.
Yeah.
They're called Whoppers, right?
Yeah, they're called Whoppers. The little chocolate cookie candy type.
And it's
things.
like I don't know what's in the center.
I don't know what you would describe. It's just those little chocolate balls.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a what do you call those? The ammunition they called in the Revolutionary War period.
Whoppers,
Are they called Whoppers? You know what? Preston, are you back yet?
gunpowder.
I don't think Preston's back yet. Gunpowder. Yeah, I know what a Whopper is. Little chocolate balls.
But yeah, the sinks were so powerful that we would shoot things out of them.
Mhm.
So like, you know, paper.
Yeah.
It's like wet paper balls or Whoppers.
Yeah.
And we would smack them against the back wall, and she would hear it. She'd be like, "What was that?"
Yeah.
And we just keep doing it all day.
Right. I think didn't you have some sort of science project where they had to make a PowerPoint?
Yeah, we made PowerPoints, and Zach and my friend Evan were in a group, and they just put random Halo pictures in their PowerPoint. They put LeBron James dunking on something.
Yeah.
There was warthogs from Halo. It was all kinds of crazy
It
stuff.
was supposed to be like some kind of scientific thing, but they just
Yeah.
made it all about
They
Halo.
made
and
up
LeBron and
everything.
stuff. Everything was fake.
Theirs was about the coniferous forest. And LeBron James was in it and Halo stuff.
Master Chief and everything. And didn't they get like a really good grade on it?
Yeah, they got a better grade than me and my partner did.
That is so funny.
Yeah.
That is hilarious.
And I didn't do any work. I was partnered with the guy that, you know, like the A student in the class. His name was Reese.
Uh-huh.
But I don't know, he just liked hanging out with us, so he always did all of our work.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I didn't learn anything. That year.
Reese was a smart kid. You had him just like do all your quizzes.
Yeah, he would
and
do
stuff too.
all three of our quizzes.
Yeah, but like, Reese, just take our quiz for us, and he'd do it.
And he had no problem with it.
Yeah, that's incredible.
He thought it was hilarious.
That is so fun. I cannot wait to. We'll be sure when Zach's back in town to do an Ask IOG, and he can tell that
That's just
story.
a brief little taste.
Yeah, that's great. I cannot wait to hear it again. I've heard it many times, and it's always funny. What else you got for us, Jacob?
Oh. Memories of the school store.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Mm-hmm. Jacob, Zach, and I were all in the same well, 2 years in a row, our junior and senior year of high school, we were in a marketing class and then a sports marketing class our senior year. And our teacher also doubled as the school store manager. And our school store was legit, man. I mean, we sold candy and T-shirts and slushies and ices, all kinds of good stuff. And we ran that thing very well. We were all like the cashiers. And that was a lot of fun. But that whole class was ridiculous because we also did no work in this class. This is going to lead into another story, I guess. It's going to lead into DECA. Now, don't let me tell the whole story. I want you to tell.
It's going to lead into 2 stories that I've written down.
Okay, because I don't want to be DECA. I don't want to steal the stories from you. If you prefer to tell them,
I think you would tell them better because, well, one of them is happening to you directly.
Okay.
But just say what you want to say about the school store.
Okay, yeah. Well, I mean, we did the school store thing and it was fine, but in addition...
I always used to steal things from the store.
Did you?
Oh, yeah.
I was too afraid to steal stuff.
Oh, yeah. I stole stuff all the time.
That's all, like candy and stuff? Yeah. Wow, that's great. Now, I always paid for it because I was too afraid I was going to get caught. But... yeah, that class, we did absolutely nothing other than run the school store. I mean, we had arguably work to do, but we didn't do it. We actually played with a baby doll in the class. My teacher had a baby doll, and we named him Abraham. We played with him every day in class, and we'd take his legs and run him across a desk and kick over a can or kick it across the room. We would throw him across the room when my teacher wasn't looking. So we played with a baby doll. I mean, we did so many things in that class I just can't remember, but we didn't take anything seriously. And I guess we'll lead into the DECA stories. Is that what's next?
Sure.
Okay, well, there's this, I don't know if all high schools have this, but most high schools where we live have this club called DECA. I can't remember what it stands for. It's a marketing club where students, I don't know how to put it, you go to, there's different events throughout the year where you have these projects where you present them as if you were a marketer to these judges, and they judge you, and you can go to a regional level, a state level, and then an internet or a national level for this competition. And we always did this, both our junior and senior year, because it was an excuse to go on field trips. And in DECA Club, we got to go to field trips to like the Coke Museum in Atlanta. We got to go to Turner Field where the Braves used to play. Just little fun things like that. And then
the Phillips Arena.
Yeah, Phillips Arena. And now didn't we go to a Hawks game a couple times?
Yeah, went to a Thrashers game back when they used to be here.
Yeah. So we got to a point. The funnest part about being a DECA Club is when the state. Not championship, but the state event came where all the schools would travel to a very luxurious hotel in Atlanta called the Marquis Hotel. And it's funny because several movies now they've been shooting in Atlanta, I always notice when they're shooting inside the Marquis because it looks very futuristic, especially when you're in the main lobby and you look up because it's such a massive hotel. It looks very futuristic, and there's been several movies that have used the Marquis. Most recently, Spider-Man Homecoming has a shot. In the trailer, when you see, it's very brief, but when you see Vulture from a bird, like you're looking directly up, Vulture's flying down towards the camera. If you look up, what you see behind him is the Marquis Hotel that he's in. But they always try to make it look like some kind of scientific facility in movies. But when you see those shots, you can see that it's the hotel. But everyone would go there, and I remember our senior year, at this point, our teacher knew that me, Jacob, Zach, and our buddy Elliot, the 4 of us were in this class together. We always caused a ruckus, and we could never get anything done. So she knew she had to separate us. But the funniest part leading into this event was we had to prepare a project. Now, the projects were supposed to be as professional looking as possible.
We spent months doing this.
It was literally a month, like 3 months you have to spend building this project.
I think it was longer than that, to be honest.
Was it? Yeah. I mean, it was at least half the school year because it took place, I think, in the spring each year. But the whole idea was you had to choose a subject of marketing, and then you had to create something original around that and then promote it as if you were a marketer. So we chose sports marketing. We chose the Hawks basketball team. Now, it was me and Jacob on a team and Zach and Elliot on a team. Now, Jacob and I chose the Hawks, and Zach and Elliot chose Georgia Tech, the college football team in our city as well. So now, it's funny in contrast. Now, Zach and Elliot sort of worked on you have to write a 30-page manual describing your entire plan for this sports team, and then you have to have a big cardboard trifold board detailing like your biggest points with like artwork and text and blah. You have to make it look as nice as possible. Well, Zach and Elliot kind of worked on their manual, and Jacob and I, to be fair, we got about 8 pages into our manual typing our own words about this plan we had for the Hawks basketball team. Now, we got so bored with this and got to a point where we didn't care because we only wanted to go on the field trip. We didn't give a crap about the club or what we were talking about. We just wanted to go to a hotel for a weekend and meet girls. That was basically the only point of what we were doing. So we went onto Wikipedia and went to the most random articles you could ever, literally have nothing to do. I mean, an article about crocodiles, we would copy and paste the entire article into our manual. We would do crocodiles, we'd do like popsicles, different sports teams, like movies, just all of them, just different articles until we hit 30 pages. I think we added a couple extra pages just to look cool too. It was 30 pages of just bull crap in our manual, and our teacher didn't proofread it. She's like, all right, you finished your manual? Great. We're like, yeah, we got it. So then we had to create a trifold board with all the artwork on it. Now, Jacob and I are idiots. We had I think our board was a weird color. I don't remember where we got it. Remember, we had to paint it for some reason. So stupid.
I remember painting it.
Yeah, we painted our cardboard cutout thing. I think we painted it black or something.
No, we painted it blue for
the Hawks.
Yeah.
So we paint the whole thing blue, and we're like, okay, this looks good. We'll just have to let it dry overnight, and we'll come back and look at it tomorrow. A day goes by. We come back, and it is the most warped.
It's all cracked.
It's like cracked and bending, and it looked like it got crushed by something because the paint warped it when it dried overnight. Like, oh my gosh, it looks awful, and everyone was making fun of us in the class because it looked so bad. But at this point, we just didn't care. So we start taking glue sticks and gluing all of our crap all over the board, and just don't give a crap about what it looks like. It looks terrible. Yep. But for the funniest part is that Jacob and I look even stupider when Zach and Elliot come in the next day. Zach's mother had made their entire board for them, and it was the most prestigious, clean, professional-looking board you could ever imagine. And I remember my teacher was blown away by that because we were known for not really doing anything well in the class. She's like, wow, guys, I'm so impressed. And of course, Zach and Elliot told us his mom did this, but to the class and the teacher were like, yeah, we spent all night working on it. We did this and this. We're really proud of it. And the whole class was like, wow, you guys, it looks so good. And everyone's like praising them for this accomplishment that they did not do, which made it even funnier. So that's how we prepared, and then we had to go to the event, which I'd said takes place in Atlanta at the Marquee Hotel. Now, you're there for, I think, Friday, Saturday, and you come home Sunday. So it's a Friday, we get there, and my teacher told us on the way, now, boys, I have specifically booked you rooms without each other. Jacob and Garrett, you're in a room with freshmen, and Zach and Elliot, you guys are in a different room with a different pair of freshmen. I'm sorry, that's just how it is, because I know how you guys get. So blah, 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 right? Oh, okay, whatever, cool. Well, we get to the hotel, and we immediately go to our room and tell the freshmen, get out, you're going to this other room. And they're like, okay. So we kick the freshmen out, and they go to the other freshmen's room, and the four of us group up and get a room together. So I don't remember much from the first day other than us just running around the hotel and having fun, but that night I will never forget as long as I live. Some of the hardest I've ever laughed. And judge us as you will, but in order to prepare for our presentations, because the following morning at the crack of dawn, I think like 7 or 8 a.m., we had to present our individual projects to these judges who would decide if we were eligible enough to go to nationals. Nationals. So that night at like 3 or 4 a.m., we'd stayed up all night and hadn't even practiced our presentation yet. That Jacob and I and Elliot, me, Jacob, Zach, and Elliot all pretended like, while we were taking turns presenting our projects, we all pretended like we had Tourette's, as if we were presenting if we had Tourette's. And acting like you have Tourette's, trying to act professional presenting something, it's so stupid and so awful. But at the time, we were stupid high school kids laughing about this. Mm-hmm. But that is some of the hardest I have ever laughed in my life, being in that hotel room pretending like we all four of us had Tourette's. That was so funny. So the following morning comes, and we have to prepare final moments of preparation. I mean, maybe 15 minutes before we present, we're all dressed up nicely. All the four of us are sitting against this wall waiting for our
I wore white shoes.
Did you wear white shoes? Interesting. Yeah. I don't remember what I wore. I mean, obviously we had like blazers and button-downs on and khakis and stuff, but Jacob and I are sitting against a wall. I'm like, Jacob, okay, I want you to, and it was all social media based. I meant to say that it was sports marketing supported by social media. How social media could promote this sport. Did you just fart?
No, it's my pen.
Okay, yeah, I would have said it was a fart because that would have been impressive.
This chair is making me so uncomfortable.
It is.
I'm wearing compression shorts and I have no padding.
Yeah, if there's anything we need to upgrade, it's our chairs. They're terrible, and they're also very noisy. But so I told Jacob, I want you to open with this statement. I want you to say, and it wasn't even that thought out, but I was like, I want you to say, in today's world, social media is a necessity. And now that's all I want you to say. And he's like, okay. I'm like, now repeat it to me. And Jacob goes, in today's world, social media is a necessity. I'm like, great. Okay, cool. That's all I want you to say. And remember, we're like, when we would only slept like 2 hours. So we were acting like we had Tourette's 3 hours ago. So we go into the room when our names go. I think Zach and Elliot, did they go before or after us?
They went before.
Okay, so I guess they went, and then a few minutes later, they're like, all right, Garrett and Jacob from blah, blah, blah high school. So we go through these hallways, and we get to this room, and they were basically walled off by these cubicles. And we went into this cubicle, and these two judges, very professional-looking men, are sitting there. They're like, all right, boys, what do you got for us? You can go at any time. And I take a glance at Jacob. Jacob looks at me, and he looks at the judges and goes, in today's world, social media is a must need. And I remember thinking, I was like, what? What? Social media is a must need. When he opened with that, I knew we were screwed. So we knew the whole thing was a
we
joke.
were screwed from the get-go.
We knew it would be a disaster. So he says that, and then I didn't realize how stupid our ideas were for the sports team until you say them out loud, because our ideas, we didn't put any thought into it. We didn't care. But one of our ideas was, I'm like, okay, so for the Hawks basketball team, we thought it'd be cool to implement a texting feature where at halftime, all the attendees of the sports game can text the, what do you call that big screen in the middle? The Jumbotron?
Yeah.
They can text the Jumbotron which player on the Hawks they want to get pied in the face. Whoever gets the most votes, that player gets pied in the face. I'm thinking,
What a dumb idea.
How stupid.
The players would never agree to that.
Right, like how stupid is that? It'd make a mess on the court, and the player would be like, "What? I got to go wash this off now before we start playing again." It was so stupid. And the judges never smiled. They never acknowledged a thing we said. They just looked at us like we were idiots. Now, what was something else stupid that was in our project? That's the one I remember the most.
Because they were so bad.
Yeah, they were awful, but just stupid ideas like that. It was, it was a disastrous presentation, but as soon as it was over, we were just glad. Because we're like, all right, we came here, we had to do that, now we can just have fun the rest of the weekend. So turns out later on that day, our teacher found out that we had a room together, and the freshman told on us or something.
She was mad.
And she was furious. I mean, she was yelling at us in the middle of the hotel lobby, telling us, like, I should send you guys home right now. You're never going on another field trip for the rest of the year. I mean, I've never seen her like this before. She was typically very nice, but she was furious. She was so mad at us. And it was kind of embarrassing, too, because the whole lobby could hear her yelling at us.
It's just a quick side note. It's funny how she went from, like, she used to love us back in the day, to by the end of high school, she hated us.
Yeah, she did.
She hated us.
Yeah. But, she yelled at us, and we're like, man, this really sucks. I don't want her to be mad at us the rest of the trip. Because originally, like you said, she really liked us. I'm like, that sucks. I'm like, dude, let's just go walk around. We'll just go. Because there's a food court attached to the hotel. So we walked across the street to this food court. And we get in there and we're walking around. All of a sudden we see that one of those, what are they called? Great American Cookie shops or something. We see a Great American Cookie, and we see these great cookie cakes. And we're like, hey, do you guys make custom cookie cakes? We're like, yeah, we do. We're like, oh, will you make us a custom cookie cake that says, we're sorry, Miss So-and-so, and like with a big smiley face on it? They're like, yeah, sure. It'll be like $20 or something. We're like, all right, great. Put our money together. We got a cookie cake. And on our way to our teacher with the cookie cakes, this is like our free time. We had like 6 hours to kill. We took her a cookie cake, which said, I'm sorry, with a big smiley face on it. And we literally wrote her a song about how sorry we were. It was like
all four of us.
like an a cappella group singing this song about how we were sorry. We had like all these funny verses and chorus and everything. And she was so moved by our presentation that she forgave all of us and literally cried in front of us and said she was so sorry for getting upset with us and that everything was fine now. And that's how we solved that issue. So moving on to the closing ceremony, where all of the teams from all the different schools throughout the state find out if they've made it to nationals. Now, each group is categorized. For sports marketing, there were 8 total teams. And there were 9 total teams, and only 8 of the 9 could go to nationals. Yep. And Jacob and I were one of the 9, and so were Zach and Elliot. So we get to the closing ceremony, and they finally get to our category, and every single team that went, except for me and Jacob, made it to nationals for obvious reasons. So that was so funny, but I remember the funniest part about that is that not only did Zach and Elliot not do any of their project, their mom did the whole project, but they also did not care about this at all. But every other student we went with was very passionate about what we were doing. Mm-hmm. So if they didn't make it to nationals, they would literally cry. Like, it was devastating for them. And it was so funny to see our teacher's daughter did not make her category and was crying, and her mom was comforting her. And they're like, Zach and Elliot from some blah, blah, blah high school. And they're like, oh yeah, Zach. And they got to go on stage, and everyone in our class knows they really don't care, but they made it to nationals. And this girl's crying her eyes out, so pissed off that these guys that didn't do anything get to make it to nationals. So
they didn't even go.
No, they didn't. Yeah, I think it was in. Of course, if it was in a cooler state, they might have gone that year. But it was in like Louisville or something that year, and they're like, I don't want to go to Louisville. But is that me?
No.
Okay. I keep hearing stuff ring. I'm sorry. But to wrap all that up, there's 2 other complimented stories that make that even funnier. So we go back everything goes back to normal in class. We're just back to our same old days playing with the baby doll in the classroom. Well, turns out a week later, the school newspaper... I don't know if I've ever told this story. Maybe I have.
I'm glad you're telling this.
Preston, have I told the Stephen McGee story on this podcast? Is Preston even still there? Has he been trying to call us this whole time? Did he like hang up by accident?
Hey, how's it going? I'm here.
Okay, there he is.
Yeah, I thought we lost you there for a second. But have I told the Stephen McGee story?
I don't think so. I actually saw that Facebook post the other day and had to tell Lizzie about it.
Oh, okay, yeah. This is, you know, when people say seize the day, this is one of those moments where I truly seized the day.
Did. So, you paid the price for it.
I did, yeah, but I'll never forget it. It's a great story. So a week later, the school newspaper came by our classroom and we're like, hey, we're here to take pictures and get all the names of all the students who made it to nationals for DECA Club. It's going to go in the school newspaper. All the kids in our class that made it were like, oh, yeah, cool, awesome. And of course, Zach and Elliot are going to be in the pictures too. Well, I didn't say a word to anyone. I simply got out of my seat and went and stood in line to get my picture taken for the school newspaper. So everyone's getting their
Zach
picture.
was like, hey, Garrett, it'd be funny if you got it over there.
Maybe did.
It
was probably a conversation we had, but I headed over there and got in line with them. So everyone's getting their pictures taken. What you would do is you would stand in front of this board and the girl would give you a medal that said like DECA something on it. This big old medal, and you put it around your neck and they take your picture and ask you your name. So my turn comes, I put on the medal, I stand there. Maybe I'll share this picture on Discord later. I still have the picture. And the girl goes, name? I go, and I couldn't think of anything, but immediately I just jumped to, Steven? She goes, okay, Steven, last name? And I was like, McGee. She's like, okay, Steven, just give me a big smile. So I got the goofiest smile I could think of, takes my picture. I forget about it. 3 weeks go by. Totally forgot I did this. It was just entertaining in the moment. So the rude awakening was when we were in the middle of the classroom, probably playing with the baby doll again, and a student comes into our classroom and says, "Is there a Stephen McGee in here, or like Garrett Drake, or it was either my real name or Stephen McGee?" Everyone's like, "Who's Stephen McGee or who's Garrett?" Somehow they figured out it was me. I think I just owned up to it. I'm like, "Yeah, that's me." They're like, "Okay, you need to come to the yearbook room real quick," and my teacher looks so pissed, like, "What's this all about?" So I go to the yearbook room, and the yearbook teacher holds up a newspaper with all these DECA kids' names, and then you see me with my idiot face, and it says Stephen McGee under my face. And teacher was like, "Are you Stephen McGee?" I was like, "Yeah, I'd be the one." She's like, "Okay, I'm two things. One, I'm very upset because my newspaper is soiled by this act, but she's like, at the same time, I got to give it to you. That is hilarious." And I was like, "Yes, thank you." I thought it was pretty funny too, and we had this funny conversation about it. She wasn't really mad, but our actual teacher was very upset that I did this. But yeah, the school newspaper went out to the entire school with Stephen McGee on the front page with the DECA kids.
Did you keep a copy?
No, I didn't keep a copy of the newspaper, but I still have the picture on Facebook of Stephen McGee, and it lives on the internet. So.
I thought you went to the principal's office.
No.
That not happen?
Yeah, at North, I never went to the principal's office. No, this is a different story I'll tell later on, but I did go to the principal's office 4 times in middle school. 7th grade, because I went to that private school. It's the darkest time of my youth because I was just a little brat and didn't want to be there. And one of those times, my own mother sent me to the principal's office, just to give a little clarity there. So, but no, I didn't get in trouble with the principal or the administration, but lastly, that has to do with that class as well. Speaking of punishment by the principal's office, the last day of high school Jacob, Zach, and I, and Elliot ever had was our last class was going to be this same marketing class, and we skipped it and went to the pool and Taco Bell instead.
Yep.
And I'll never regret that.
Don't regret it at all.
No, me neither, because it was so much fun. We skipped it. We got Taco Bell, went to the pool, played video games.
We just walked out.
And we just left. We were like, I don't want to be here. It's the last day. Who cares? What's the worst that can happen? Turns out there is worse that can happen, because if we had gone to class today, we would have been done because all the seniors finished about a week or 2 early before everyone else. But because we skipped, we got caught, obviously, and we had to go to the assistant principal's office, which is by far an awesome dude. You remember that guy? I can't remember his name.
Mr. Heron.
Yeah, he was super cool. Everyone loved him. And he was even cool with us. He's like, "Guys, I get it. You're seniors. It was your last day. You left. It's fine. But unfortunately, I have to do something about it. So I'm going to give you all ISS for a half day tomorrow or something." So our last day of high school was spent in school suspension for about 6 hours. And then we left.
We had our backs to each other.
We did have our backs to each other. Yeah, we couldn't communicate.
What did we do?
I think I just twiddled my thumbs because they didn't let you get on your phone or do. I mean, you could do homework if you had it, but we didn't have any work, obviously. So
right.
I think
probably read a book or something.
Yeah, I probably sat there and stared at the wall for 6 hours. But that was our last day of high school, and it all happened to do in that marketing class. So amazing, amazing times.
Yeah.
You have any more stories?
We've been talking long enough.
I think so.
Yeah, I'll save them for another time.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, countless high school stories they spark in our minds. So many funny ones, but I guess that will conclude episode 2 of Ask IOG. Everyone who submitted questions and continues to submit questions, a huge thank you to each and every one of you. We greatly appreciate it. Again, this show cannot exist without you guys. It exists by you, for you, essentially. And it's an excellent opportunity for us to share a personal side of ourselves and get to know a personal side of you guys as well. So all these questions that you've heard, if any of them stick out to you, please answer them yourself in the comments or on Discord or anywhere else you'd like, over email perhaps, just so we can get to know you guys a little better. And it's just been an awesome time. We greatly appreciate all of you for doing so.
Yeah.
But yeah. Any closing thoughts, boys?
I don't think so. I'm gonna just talk a little bit because I haven't talked in a while.
Yes, please.
That was a good episode. That's my closing statement.
Excellent. Yeah, that one was a lot of fun. We have a lot of fun with the show. And remember, it's designed to be a little more random. By all means, you can send us video game questions. And the video game questions that are on here are ones that we've either answered before or made more sense to be on a little more of a random podcast. Because we like to keep the It's Obvious podcast a little more structured and streamlined. But please, again, if you continue to send us questions, like I said at the beginning, this can become a regular occurrence. Our goal is to make it weekly and eventually get it on Spotify. It'll have its own intro song and intro graphic at some point. We'll make it super legit. But right now, it's kind of the indie stage, the beta stage, so to speak. Maybe even alpha right now. But like I said at the beginning, we have enough questions to do an episode next week as well. So I hope you guys tune into that one. But please share your thoughts down below if you're still enjoying it. And again, thank you to all of you. And I guess we'll catch you again very soon.
See ya.
See ya.
Goodbye, everyone.